Yeah, that's your name.
Squirrels got me.
Big Jim.
Yeah.
Really, 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 really cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
That's good that you think that of it, because that's what deer hunting typically is cold and fun.
Yesterday morning, I'm glassing up on the pass, and I see these deer moving, and I'm like, ooh, there's deer moving. All of a sudden, I just see this person just head down, just hauling ass, wearing shorts and a t-shirt with a pack on. And I'm like, is that Tard? My dad always talks about floating through the woods like the autumn breeze.
So Robert's
when you're
the ghost,
275 pounds, I don't know how you do that, but
the Freightliner. It's just like a creeper. You're just kind of up in the corner watching what's going on down there.
Yeah.
You know.
He's like,
he's up there slapping, pissing all over everything.
Is it warm yet?
How did you know the name of the actor?
That's I know.
Why did you say his name?
Hervé Villachez.
You know what Pertnear means.
If you know what Pertnear means and you live in America, you're a redneck too.
Welcome to the Log Talk Podcast, brought to you by Pertnear Outdoors. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Pertnear Outdoors Podcast. This is Billy, and I'm happy to have you joining us for this week's show. We are joined by a couple, several pretty cool people. Jason Ellsworth's back on the show. He is. This is twice in 3 episodes, so he's becoming a regular. Really hit it off with that big bearded some gun, and excited to be doing some more stuff with him. But most importantly, we were joined by Caleb, Copeland, and Keagan from Copeland Creative, and they are a production company that if you don't know who they are, you actually probably do know who they are, you just don't realize it. And they are the ones who are currently producing the show for Lee and Tiffany, and a lot of the work behind Knock On and John Dudley's kind of online and video and photo presence is produced and put together by Caleb and his team. So it was a very cool opportunity. Jason kind of connected, as he talked about in the episode we did a couple episodes back. The Finger Lakes folks deserve a good acorn crop, that episode. We talked a little bit about how he connected with Copeland Creative, and he convinced those guys to come up for this meet and greet to see what we have going on here in the Finger Lakes region of New York. And so we had a really fun chat. I think it's a very fun flowing discussion. It was awesome to get to hear the history of Caleb and how he got the business started and the connections that he made, some good life lessons learned, some good Southern slang shared, and all around some good laughs and fun to be had. So a lot to take away from this episode, and I hope you enjoy the chat. I hope you check out their content. Since this podcast, I started watching some of the Foxworthy Outdoors, which is a show that one of Caleb's first shows that he helped produce, and been really enjoying that. You can get that on Carbon TV, which is an app that you can get on your television, smart TV, and watch that for free. So I've been enjoying that show since this discussion last week, and definitely encourage you to check out their product that they are putting out, as well as the podcast. We had a good time joking back and forth about their podcast and our podcast, trying to say it as much as we could to get people's ears to register. But the Redneck Tech Podcast is a podcast geared to kind of educate people that are interested into getting into filming, photography, audio production, things of that nature in relation to the outdoors. So their podcast has been around about the same length of time as ours has. They're right around the 150, 155 mark episode-wise, so right in the same neighborhood as us, and their show is quite entertaining. I listened to it a few times, and then after doing this podcast with them, I went back and listened to the last few episodes, and Caleb is a piece of work, but I'll tell you, the boys on his team are something else. And Keagan, he has not been with them for very long, but he is a contagious individual to listen to. He's a fun guy, and other than looking like a complete joke, he seems to have his stuff together and doing some pretty cool things. So I meant that, and that was a shot over the bow, Mr. Keagan. So let it rip, send it back. I want to hear it. But enjoy that. Enjoy this discussion. Enjoy the discussion that you have with your friends and family this weekend. Get out there and feed them. Have a good time. And reminder, we're like about 7 days away from Pertnear Beer Day at Windy Brew. So we'll be launching the beer. we're excited about that. We got, I guess, a quick note on those items. We've got, I'm going to purchase a muzzleloader tomorrow, so we've got a nice CVA Acura LR. So it's their long-range muzzleloader. It's pretty badass gun, Cerakote finish, camouflage. It's got a Picatinny rail mount on the top to put some sort of a scope or sights on it. Very nice gun. Jimbo, this is the same gun Jimmy bought after last hunting season, and so I'm going to pick that up tomorrow. Been talking with the Huntworks, and they're going to have a trailer there with a bunch of product and running some specials on tree stands and sticks and ladders. Have some buck huts there if anybody's interested from the area that's going to be coming to that event. It'd be an opportunity to pick one of them up at Windy Brew that day. We're going to have Ellicottville Distillery is going to be doing some tasting there that day, so they'll be set up there doing a little bit of their liquor tasting. Whitetail Company, Hunting Western New York, they will be there with their trailer with merchandise and clothing. And if you do the Hunting Western New York Rut Madness Challenge, you can sign up for that at the event and pick out the hat that you'd like, so you can do that there. We got a lot more, and so stay tuned to Instagram and Facebook to see updates as I get around and collect all the door prizes and things. We do have a lifetime license, youth lifetime license that we will be raffling off. So the way that'll work is that the winner will either be able to fully pay for a youth under 5 lifetime license, $380 value, or you can take that $380 and put it towards a lifetime for yourself. So we will have that offered as well. So this event is all the proceeds are going directly to the Venison Donation Coalition and the National Deer Association. So this is our last event of the year to raise some funds for those organizations and support them, especially the Venison Donation Coalition in the times we are in with the economy being in a rough spot, food being more expensive. There's a lot of hungry people out there. And for those of us who enjoy shooting deer and would like to donate a deer or two every year, we can do that at no cost because of the Venison Donation Coalition. And they make sure that meat makes it to the local food banks and feeds the hungry. So pretty awesome cause, and love that we're able to support those guys. So I will shut my mouth, enjoy the show, and check out the content that these guys are putting out, because it is top notch. Keep feeding them.
Copeland guys, didn't know them from anybody, just other guys in camp. And Caleb is 6'5", big Southern guy, like just the sweetest sweetheart of a human. I thought, like, immediately I saw him, I'm like, I'm staying away from that guy.
He's a big dude.
He's just a big dude, and like he seems like annoyed a lot, and like I don't want to get his way. It's
tense.
And but he was just working.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey there, boy, where you? he goes, hey there, well, so where are you from around here? I'm like, I'm not from Texas.
Not around here.
Yeah, from Texas. Shoot, I thought for sure you're from Texas, boy. I'm like, nope. He goes, where you from? I'm like, New York. His head exploded. Like, he lost it. I'm like, what? What are you doing down here? How the hell? You seem all right. Like, so that kind of like put a bug in me to change people's ideas about New York.
God bless you.
Metabolism slows down.
How old are you, Keagan? 27. Yeah, it'll catch up to him.
Oh, any minute.
Finds that old lady that you can't live without.
Yeah, I don't know how you keep the women off you with a mustache like that.
And a mullet and a Kentucky waterfall like that.
Kentucky, is that what they call it, a Kentucky waterfall?
Yeah, that's a proper name for a mullet. It's a Kentucky waterfall.
Okay.
Georgia mudflap, I prefer.
Georgia mudflap. Okay. Yes, sir. So I'd plug this in here to the phone.
You should plug it into the phone and turn the volume up. You should have him.
This is some real redneck tech stuff.
This is, I'm learning. Oh.
Pertnear.
So is there gain on here or something, or?
You should just be able to turn it up on the board. Is his on?
Yeah.
Everybody's on?
So he's in the.
Okay, hold on a second. We might have some technical difficulties here. Let's see what we got here. RX.
Was not a smart idea drinking a nitro cold brew just now. Feeling a little weird.
So I took some Jocko Discipline on the way there, and I was like shaking.
I
It's
love
too much.
Jocko, but I did not like that stuff.
You tried it?
Did not like it.
No?
No, Dud had a bunch of it, and I love Jocko to death. He's like one of the nicest people in the world.
Did you get a chance to meet him?
Yeah, I've filmed him on a couple elk hunts.
On what's that ranch that they all went to?
Deseret,
Yeah. Goddamn, you've been on the Deseret.
a couple times. It's a magical place.
Talk a little bit, Jimbo.
No, keep talking. No, keep talking.
Oh, is this microphone?
This is microphone off. Hold on a second.
Also, please turn me down.
You're very loud.
You're very loud.
Thank you.
I guess I had all the headphones turned up. It's the Redneck Tech Pertnear Outdoors Podcast.
Ooh.
It's recognizing him, right?
Keep talking.
Keep talking, Jim.
Keep talking.
Anybody got me over there?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. No. It's
No,
just,
that's coming through our mics.
Hear me now?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so if we...
Oh, here we go.
Oh.
Whoa. It's too loud now?
No, now there we are.
Bill, take lessons.
I'm gonna need to buy one of them.
Take lessons, meow.
Just make sure it's like... See how it's turned down now? It's
Yeah.
very directional. It's got to be pointed at your... You almost be better off holding it like right there in your
I'll hold
hand.
it. I like holding
Or can you clip it on your hat?
That's
We've
what
done
she
that
said.
before.
That's what she said.
I can dangle in front of my face
Yeah.
the whole time. That'd be nice.
Or just like hold it like a microphone, like a white person.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Like a white person.
You want me to hold it this close? That
Yeah.
close?
It needs to be like really close.
Really close?
We
Right,
can-
right
right there.
top of it?
We can hear you good, Jim.
All right.
Wow, this is
We've
awesome.
been live for like a half an hour,
This is
so like
so
everybody's
loud.
Is
just
there
been-
anybody even
Can
paying
you-
attention to
We got a couple listeners. We got a couple
real
people.
live people?
Yeah. No, they're probably bots. It's somebody in their basement
I'll
in
take them.
Czechoslovakia.
It's all about how it looks.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You fake it till you make it.
That's
And
right.
if somehow I've faked it to the point where I'm sitting on a couch with some people that are actually in the industry. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Do you
Jason,
know what
the cool guy.
number this is, so you can like
Is it?
dial down the in-ear,
Keep talking.
please and thank you.
Oh, he's such
Yes.
a prima donna.
Yes, there it is. There, that's so much better. Thank
Okay.
you.
On my podcast, I do it a little differently.
You get yours closer to your mouth.
I want to hear myself and you guys, but I don't want my ears to bleed.
That's fine.
Thank you.
I want you to be comfortable, Keagan. That's what
That's beautiful.
that's what we're trying to achieve here tonight. Comfort.
Are you just trying to make me look like I'm eating my, like, is it
No.
close enough
No,
now?
put it in your mouth.
See, it's got to be really, really
Put
close
it-
to your mouth.
No, see that's now it's too much.
If it's in your esophagus and
just
you're
get it
choking
tickle
on
in your
it,
beard.
it's not far
I feel
enough.
like it's going to hit my mustache.
You just want it
He's
tickling your
lower than
mustache.
He must be lower.
Okay.
Is that
Okay,
better?
good about
you're good.
that.
I remember my first podcast.
Yeah, me too. 100 and something ago. And you've got a couple. We couldn't shut you up on the last one. You and your freaking awful Southern accent.
I can't
Speaking
wait
of,
for this
let's hear that.
impression.
Yeah,
I wanna
let's hear
that.
it. Let's
Josh
why don't we-
couldn't even get a word in edgewise on
Let's
the podcast.
let's recap that.
Maybe if Josh had some fun stuff to say, he would have had a word in it. As we're sitting in his
Oh,
beautiful
wow.
lodge.
Yeah.
Shots
Get
fired.
offensive.
I'm kidding. That guy's awesome. I don't have a Southern accent.
Hey, you don't have any sweet tea? Why don't you have sweet tea? Oh, it's because this was made for me. Sorry.
Because we're from the north. And
Hey, yeah, you are.
So
We're pretty much in Canada right now.
we are.
Pertnear.
Pertnear.
Pertnear, Canada.
Ah,
That's
nice.
right. Shoot.
We're at Bristol Lodge. We just had a pretty cool event over at FLX Outdoors that Jason helped put together. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Brought a lot of cool people together and even brought some guys up from Georgia, Caleb and Keagan from the Redneck Tech Podcast and Copeland Creative. So appreciate you guys coming up here. It's exciting to sit down with you guys, and it's cool to meet you guys because we know who you are, we know what you do, and you guys do a lot of great work. So it's really cool to actually meet the people behind it, but then also how much we all have in common.
Yeah.
You know, we sit down and start shooting the shit, and it's like it's amazing how much we all have in
really
common.
crazy how much me and you had in common earlier.
Wild. Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's
Hopefully my wife was listening to that.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, we'll just cut out that one clip,
Okay.
and that's all that's important for
All
her
right, I'll
to know.
give you an email address that you can send it to.
Perfect. I'll see if I can edit that out.
Let me know where to send the check.
Perfect. Yeah, not Venmo, because then the government will know. And then,
True story.
Yeah, so that's not good.
We can't have them knowing about
Well, you
that.
have a checkbook?
Mm,
Nice.
yeah.
You didn't know that?
No.
It's unfortunate.
Worked here for like 4 months.
Actually, my wife keeps it in her office, believe it or not.
That
She doesn't want me to have it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So we you and I started connecting because we started talking baseball.
Yeah.
And that's what it's wild how
Hey,
similar.
That's that smart person sport.
It's a romance.
Yeah.
This is a smart person sport. A lot of
Baseball
people don't
is?
play it. Yes.
Balls and sticks.
Oh yeah, super smart.
Billy was
Super
pretty good till he hurt his
boring.
labia. And then,
So
and then he kind of fell out of it.
I've never heard anybody say it that way. That's good.
that's my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got
He
it.
doesn't understand what a labrum is, but he knows what a labia is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well,
Does he?
Yeah.
Because it
Same
doesn't
thing.
sound like he
He's
knows
got
what
a
it
child.
is. That doesn't mean anything.
at least once.
He knows where it is. You're not sure?
It's right near the
I
elbow,
don't. Man,
right?
this bush light and the mustache.
Yeah, with the mustache.
It's
I
a
mean,
lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
it's hard to debate anything he says.
You say the
really.
bush light and the mustache, and you just completely gloss over the freaking flowing locks behind his head.
Yeah,
and
and
it
the-
just comes
the
together in the perfect. mullet.
Perfect.
What was that called again? It's not a mullet. It's a what?
Georgia mudflap.
Kentucky waterfall.
There's got to be some other ones.
Did you see the guy that walked in
there's so
tonight
many.
that like looked like a mini you? Were you like, was
But
it like
slightly
is that
shorter,
my brother?
slightly fatter.
parallel universe? Like,
Yeah.
well, you are the same.
I
but
kept trying to
different.
talk to him, but I felt like we were just like
Yeah, you couldn't see eye
magnets
to
and
eye.
just-
Yeah, yeah.
We should have gotten a
You guys
picture of
had
you
to.
guys
Should've.
together.
You guys had to be on different sides of the room.
Yeah.
That was too much mullet strength.
There was, yeah.
You shifted the universe in there. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, a lot of mullets were crying
Oh,
tonight.
man.
Yeah.
Are mullets the new beards? Am I out of touch?
I don't know.
Is
I
this
don't know.
what's
You
happening now?
also had a twin, and you guys were like magnets. You guys stood next to each other,
Oh, that guy.
and nobody knew who
Billy
anybody was.
BHA.
Yeah, yeah. You and Brian look
Brian. yeah.
so much alike.
Oh,
yeah.
he's a handsome devil, man.
He
I thought
can't-
I made a really good joke there with like he left so long ago his beard was brown.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was pretty
the,
good.
The group wasn't quite ready
They're not
to know
ready.
what the vibe was.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Like a lot of my humor is above a lot of people. You'll see that tonight. Like
I really
gotta
just
slow things down for some folks every once in a while.
Yeah.
Now I'm all juded up
Well,
on a
especially
Starbucks
for the
Nitro.
people from the South too. You got to slow it down.
You ain't kidding.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You see,
ain't kidding.
Here we go.
that's
I-
South
my-
Dansville. South
my,
Dansville for anybody.
My
Alright.
very Puerto Rican friend.
hooker.
No, jeez, why? Can I tell the story without you derailing it? Into
Hold
like
on.
Some
Sorry, I'll put some more coal in the fire. We can fire this locomotive back up.
Victor,
burn coal
who you
in New
guys
York,
met today at Elite.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my God,
Go
is
ahead.
this how it's gonna go?
Yeah, it
This
is.
is how
I
it's
think
gonna
so.
go. I looked at Caleb at one instance today at Elite when Victor was just on a like tear because I felt like Victor, we talk fast up here. That's 100% fact. Victor, who's Puerto Rican and maybe was on 10 cups of coffee today, was like a million miles an hour, and I just watched Caleb just like tilt his head. And
I
like,
don't
what
feel
is?
like I don't know
what
if I
i-
felt like he was going that fast today.
He was going fast.
There was times. Yeah.
There was some times he was cruising along, but I think he was nervous too. He was
Well, I
nervous
think
that-
he needed to get back to actually working and not showing us around, probably too.
he was definitely nervous introducing you guys to
Josh.
Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember his name because that's my brother's name.
Yeah, Josh is a cool guy. That was actually pretty cool that he was Victor's like, I don't know, the CEO was coming.
I didn't really get to talk to him tonight either. I didn't have a chance.
So that was Josh. What's his last name? He was there tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
CEO
was.
of the outdoor group.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Troy's the one that knows him pretty well. His last name. He lives in Honey Falls.
Mhm.
And his parents worked with mom and dad. I think his mom.
That was the
Maybe.
bus driver, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely wild how small. And I don't know if like you guys are all over the place. You interact with tons of different people. Like
It gets
there's a
smaller.
lot. I bet.
it's crazy small.
But there's so many people in the industry, like in manufacturing or product reps, like here.
Today, when I asked that question, I was like, how many people in this room are like are in the outdoor industry? Pretty much everybody raised their hand, and then how many people are seeing new faces in here for the first time? Like everybody raised their hand. That's the outdoor industry for Western New York in that room today that
Right.
didn't know each other.
Did
Right.
Billy raise his hand when you said, "Are you in the outdoor industry?"
He did very fast, like very fast.
We've made it, Jim.
Like there was nothing.
He almost knocked me
is
over.
We went to an industry event. Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that shoulder. He could have played a couple more years. of
I
baseball.
could have.
He just quit.
But it was my labia, and it
was
hurt.
the labia.
Yeah.
Where's the labia?
It's next to the minor.
Okay.
It's by the little man on the boat.
In the canoe.
It's in that, yeah.
It's actually a pretty good description.
I had a boss I worked for that explained it that way, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty
Hey, if
accurate.
you listen to this podcast or anything else, it's to learn that.
Yeah, it's the little man on the boat.
Let's get if you don't
Briar Porter, listen.
if you don't know where it's at, you're gonna want to know one day, and you learned it on the Pertnear podcast.
Little man on the boat.
Yeah, if you're not,
That'll be the name of this podcast.
Yeah.
Little man on the boat.
Little man on the boat.
Let's search for a better name.
Yeah, I think so too. So I'm very interested because just getting to know you guys tonight, and we chatted, and obviously we connected on some things. But where did it all start for you? You started Copeland Creative, so we kind of talked. You got out of college playing ball. Where did the road start for you getting into this industry?
So it actually happened. It kind of started for me while I was in college playing baseball. I'll try and make this long story as short as I can because I've told it a bunch of times. But I was reading I don't know if I was reading or just looking at pictures. Probably more looking at pictures. In a Field and Stream magazine.
Sure it was.
Let's be honest, I wasn't reading. I was looking at big deer pictures. But I was reading the Field and Stream magazine, and I saw like a blurb or ad. I wish I still had the magazine. But it was for a thing called Generation Wild. And essentially what they were doing is they were you had to write into this website or write an email. I can't remember exactly what. But they were looking for 18 and under kids to sign up to, tell their first hunting story, to be a part of what they were calling Generation Wild. And if you won like this prize pack. You got to be on a TV show called Outdoor Icons. It was on Outdoor Channel for like a year or two. Well, I was 20 or 21 at the time, junior, senior in college. And my brother was 17. And me and him grew up hunting together. So I just filled this sucker out as if I was him. Because, he's not going to do it. Sent it in and never really thought anything else about it. And like 3 months later, lo and behold, they call, and he's one of the 4 kids that got picked across the country. First time they ever did it. And when he won, he got to go to Realtree Farms, tour Realtree Farms, do a turkey hunt with Realtree, get to go be filmed for that show in Michigan, and a couple other little things. But they also wanted to do video blogs. And I wanted his video blogs to be better than everybody else's. And this is before the web show age. This is in 2008, 7, 8, 9-ish, if I can remember right. So these were all going to go on their website. Like, nobody watched them. But I wanted his to be better than the other 3 kids because they were essentially selfie videos of them. Hey, I'm out in my boat, in the yard shooting my bow. You should get out and shoot your bow too. Trying to get the next generation involved in the outdoors. This is when hunting numbers were just plummeting. Mm-hmm. And so we bought a second camera, and I would set up cameras, and I would kind of produce them. I had no formal training, and I would produce them, and then I would bring them back to my iMac from my my college computer, and I would put them together in iMovie and put some music to them. Fully licensed music, didn't have any permissions for anything, no idea what I was doing. But we would turn his in, and they would see that we put thought and effort behind it. We thought it through a little bit, even though it was very rudimentary and we didn't really know what we were doing. But my brother's super blue collar, has no technical, technological knowledge whatsoever. I'm the only one in my family has any kind of, I'm tech savvy. And after his year was over there, they asked him if he wanted to stay on and do more work for him because he had done such a good job. He's like, I didn't do any of that. My brother did. And so they asked me if I wanted to produce a 6-episode web show for him. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't afford an HD camera. I need a new computer. This is going to cost me money. I'm in college still. I'm still playing baseball. And they paid me $5,000 to do 6 episodes. I'll never forget it. I thought I was rich. I took $2,500, went on Craigslist, and I bought my first HD cam. It was a tape camera. I bought it from a lady off Craigslist in a parking lot of a Caribou Coffee. I'll never forget it.
That's awesome.
I wish I still had the camera.
Classy.
And the other $2,500 went to trying to produce these 6 web shows. We killed a couple of does. We shot bows in the backyard. Did the best we could with what we had. Got paid for them. They never aired anywhere.
Is there a place to see those now?
No, I wish to God there was.
Man, that'd be cool.
Sucks.
I don't have them I can't find them anywhere.
Mm.
You could call the company up and be like, hey, down in the basement, can we just root around a little while until we find the Copeland files?
Well, and I would love to have them. But anyway, I would be scared to let anybody else see them because I wouldn't want to see them now.
Oh man.
But anyway, so we did them. I got
Blackmail for
paid,
days.
and then it kind of clicked in my mind. It's like, that was fun. Maybe I could do this. Or I graduate college. I have a business degree, completely useless.
Owns a business.
Yeah, I own a business. Use none of it
I know.
whatsoever. It's such BS.
Yeah.
The amount that we have in common is ridiculous. 'Cause,
Okay.
Like, just listening to you tell this story.
Yeah.
Like Billy's the tech kid, and
Yeah.
I'm like in the background just doing all this stuff,
Yeah.
and I have no interest in any of the tech stuff.
My brother was the same way. Like he could care less. He's like, computers, yeah, no, you can have that. He's like, he barely uses an iPhone. But anyway, I out of college, I didn't really have any job prospects. I went to work for a little local IT company, like fixing little old ladies' emails, and their Outlook won't work. Scanning for viruses on the computer, just small business stuff.
Viruses.
So many viruses, yeah. Little old ladies, turned out they look at websites they probably shouldn't a little more often than they should. But anyway, so that was kind of what I did for 2 years, and that was fine. I didn't make any money, and I got to hunt some. Me and my wife had just got married and didn't really need a whole lot. And then my old boss went into partnership with this other lady. I couldn't stand her. I can get along with just about anybody. This lady was the devil.
And Yankees.
Well, she was just let's just not for this podcast. But anyway, that made me want to look and see what other opportunities there were. And we didn't have any kids at the time. And I had an idea for a show. And I knew Jeff Foxworthy, the comedian, through a friend of a friend of a friend. I had his personal emails, really as much as I knew him. I never met him, never spoke to him. Essentially, and I wish I had this email. I wrote him out an email of the show idea, outlined it, how I would produce it, how I would see it, all this, that, and the other, and I sent it to him. Again, never thinking anything would happen, just like when I signed my brother up for this thing. 2 or 3 days later, I get an email back, and it's from Jeff. He's like, hey, Caleb, got your email. I think this is a really great idea, and I have somebody I'd like to show it to. Do you mind if I show it to somebody? I'm like, have at it. It was a couple other days later. I get a call from my former boss at Sub 7. His name's Mark Womack, and I followed outdoor television religiously. That's all I watched. Because back in the day, there wasn't
Sportsman's Channel and
Outdoor Channel. YouTube wasn't. There was YouTube, but it's not like it is now. If you weren't on TV, you were nothing. And if it was a show out there, I watched it. I wanted to know. I wanted to learn. This is what I wanted to do. I'd made up my mind. I was doing this. And the whole 2.5 years I was working at the IT company, I was filming anybody who would let me go. And I didn't charge them a dime. I just wanted to meet people. I wanted experience. So it was 2.5-ish, 3 years that I didn't hunt. I hunted behind the camera every single day. I did not pick up a bow. I just wanted to go and get experience and get time in the seat. And sent that email. My old boss calls me. He's like, hey, this is Mark Womack. He didn't think I'd know who he was. Well, I knew exactly who he was.
That name sounds really familiar.
Yeah, Mark Womack, he started Bone Collector with Steve Finch. He came from Realtree. I knew this guy's whole life story because this is the crap I studied every day. I saw his name in credits. And I was like, oh, I immediately knew who he was. And he's like, hey, Jeff Foxworthy sent me an idea that you had. And he's like, my job is to poke holes in them. He's like, I can't poke holes in this one. He's like, this is a really good idea. Do you mind if we see if we can run with this thing? I was like, the only thing I ask is if I can be a small part of it. And when I thought small part, I meant put my name in the credits. Idea came from this guy. That was my idea. And it was, I don't really remember the time frame now. It was a couple months go by, and he's like, hey, we're going to shoot a pilot for that show idea that you had. He's like, we've changed some things around, and we've kind of meshed it around a little bit, but we're going to shoot it at Jeff's farm here in South Georgia. He's like, would you want to come down and be there for the pilot? And I'm like, I'll quit my job. I'll be there. I was like, there's nothing that's going to stop me from being there. I went down, met Jeff, and I brought my camera down there thinking I was going to shoot with these guys, and I was in every shot. I was only in the way. I had no idea what I was doing, but I got to see what a real production company looked like. I got to see them shoot the pilot. I got to run around the woods with Jeff for a day. And I was in hog heaven. And at that point, I just was not happy in my old job. I didn't enjoy going to work every day. I'm like, how can I do this? And at that point, I would have done it for free. He calls me couple months later, and he's like, hey, man, my production company, or I call him, and I'm like, hey, do you know of any jobs available? I'm like, I'm up for virtually anything. And I'm not making any money. I'm making like $25,000. And I'm like, anything even remotely close to that, I'll take it. And he actually said, well, you know, my production company's busting at the seams. Would you be interested in coming to work for me? I'm like, tell me when. Didn't ask a salary. Didn't ask anything. He's like, well, you'd have to move to Columbus. I'm like, done. You'd have to do this. I'm like, done. You'd have to do this. I'm like, done. I didn't care. 2 weeks later, January the 14th, 2012, I started at Sub 7, and I was there for 5 years and 1 month. And I started Copeland Creative after that, and the rest is history.
Well, what was the show?
So it was called Foxworthy Outdoors.
I was hoping you were going to say Incomplete Deer Hunter,
No,
because that's my
gosh.
freaking...
So-
if you were going to say that, I was like, dude, we're shutting this off right now.
Okay, so I do have a story about Incomplete Deer Hunter.
This is my favorite. Spotlight on deer. Yeah.
So listen to me when I tell you, there is an entire half of another one shot that'll never see the light of day.
It's pretty good.
It's better than any.
Oh, I
you've
can
ever
only
seen.
imagine, yeah.
So I wish I've got one clip I'll show you when we get off this. Remind me. It's
Okay.
You'll die. They filmed a whole half of a new Incomplete Deer Hunter. This would have been in 2000, probably 2012, 2013. It's back when Lee and Tiff were still with Realtree, and Realtree had done it because Realtree made like $2 million off of those.
Oh, I mean.
And Jeff made about $2 million off of those, just in VHS sales back in the day, DVD sales. Well, they wanted to do another one. They wanted to revive it. And Jeff's like, you know, I'll do it. You know, because their farms border each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they touch. They like 1,500 acres and 3,000. Like that's their farms. It's better than about any place you're gonna hunt in the Midwest. It's unbelievable. Anyway, they shot a whole half of it. And then that's when Jeff started Foxworthy Outdoors, the web series. And they went to them, and they're like, hey, we would like for you guys to sponsor the show. And Realtree's like, you know, sure, what's it going to cost? I don't know the numbers, and I don't know exactly what happened, but apparently Realtree said it was too much money. Mossy Oak said, we'll do it. Pulled the plug on the whole thing.
Oh.
Half of it shot. And I'll tell you the story afterwards about some of the skits.
Yeah.
Solid freaking
Oh,
gold.
my God. When hunting with Billy and Willie, and they're driving around in the
freaking
truck.
love when they're doing
When they hit the decoy and the
deer meetings, and they're, you know.
Dude, so half
That
those
was so
rain.
half the
Head on,
guys
I watched that
bound,
so many
broadside,
times.
both side.
So almost all that was filmed on Jeff's farm in Harris County, Georgia.
I mean, that was literally what I watched in my childhood.
So if you guys will, I don't know if you ever watched the Foxworthy Outdoors series. So we ended up doing.
And that was a web series?
It was a web series. We probably did 50 episodes. I shot and edited almost every one of them. That was my first gig. I was not qualified whatsoever. But luckily I had some really awesome guys that worked at Sub 7 to help me along. And that was what I cut my teeth on, was that web series. And we did 20 episodes the first year, 15 the second year, 10 the third year. And I think that was it. They just, you know, the more Jeff tried to wind his career down, the busier he got. And that was such a low thing on the totem pole for him. It's like, that's the first thing that's going to go.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I get it. And I got to, you know, be on his farm and, you know, get to experience that. And his friends, the reason Jeff's so funny is because he's got almost an eidetic memory. Like, he just doesn't forget things. And his delivery's great. But his friends, oh my gosh, they're just nuts, man.
Yeah.
So he's got a thing on his farm, and it was in the show. They literally have his lodge, and then they have two stands that are within 100 yards on both sides. And it's called Hangover 1 and Hangover 2. And it's for the guy that wakes up too hungover and he wants to go hunting. He can literally walk 100 yards. And
We
so
call those diaper stands at our camp.
Yeah, I was
So-
going to say diaper stand.
So he's got a buddy of
Nice.
his named John Swinehart. I'll never forget it. This is you know, probably close to 10 years ago now. Swiney was known as just the funny guy and the goofball, and they do what's called Hunt Week every year, and he has all his buddies come down, and for a whole week they hunt the rut, and they're pretty hardcore about it. And then we would keep score, and we had a scoring system and all this stuff. Well, you know, they have a group text that we would all get on. Even the camera guys would be on it because we'd all just chime in because you're passing time in this tree.
Yep.
Oh, dude, I wished I had some of those group texts, man. Oh my gosh, They would rag on each other and talk trash. It was just solid gold. And then they would send pictures of each other in the stand, like, making funny faces, like, I'm not seeing nothing or whatever. Well, they all send their pictures, and, like, usually you could see a camera guy over their shoulder. Well, Swiney, you see a picture of him, and you see his face, and you see the tree, but something's off. And, like, come to find out, Swiney never went hunting. He just went out in the front yard and took a picture of himself with a camo hat on. He's like, yeah, I'm not seeing anything, and went back inside and got in the bed. But he didn't want him to know that he didn't go hunting, that he didn't get out of bed. He just didn't want anybody to know. And they end up figuring it out, and it was so much worse that he didn't just tell them in the beginning. But yeah, that was some of the best times.
Yeah.
And those shows, if you haven't watched them, there's some. So have you guys ever seen NFL Films?
Yeah. So
we did like a whole series during Hunt Week, and we did an NFL film style, like over the top voiceover. We had a whole meeting like where they talk about the draft, because there was the two teams. They divided into teams. There was the Killbillies and the Thump Monkeys.
Okay.
That was the two teams, and like Jeff was the captain of the Thump Monkeys.
Funny.
Jeff was the captain of the Thump Monkeys, and his brother Jay was the captain of the Killbillies. Well, the Thump Monkeys always won every year. It's because Jeff was on the team and the land manager Glenn was on the team. Well, those are the two guys that know where all the flipping deer
everything.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was not fair at all, but it's such a great series. And if we would have had it, if Jeff would have had the time to do it like we wanted to do it, it could be something truly special. Yeah. And we started it right when web was starting to take off, because they didn't want to do TV. I don't want to do TV now, but it's a necessary evil. But it was so much fun. I learned so much and just met so many cool people. I mean, we filmed Grant Woods. I filmed Adam LaRoche. I filmed Jeff. I filmed all Jeff's buddies, all right there on that farm.
That's so cool.
It's a really good time.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like, and it's cool that you meet different people, but like we all had the same influences growing up. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's those DVDs. I don't know if we probably had DVDs and VHS.
Yeah, I mean, they're still over at camp. I mean, those were like, I remember like in that era when you were starting off. I mean, that was like we were at camp all weekend, just like replaying those videos because we didn't have.
You knew every line.
Well, that and TK and Mike. Everybody had
TK and Mike.
TK and Mike. That was fantastic.
With that gigantic shotgun.
Yeah. TK and Mike, an incomplete deer hunter.
We invented a game that you'd press pause on the thing and you'd sit there with those sticker guns to see who could get the best shot of the animal.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
Oh, yeah, we were lit. There'd be a bunch of us sitting around. Everybody had one of those guns.
Can't do that at an LCD TV now. You
Not
worry
this
about
nice
it.
one.
And
We
don't
can try.
As my grandmother said, don't ruin that color tube.
That color tube.
That was a fun game, man.
That is funny listening to that, though, because that is like all the stuff that we watched growing up. That's
100%.
That's funny that you were like right at the cusp of starting what you're doing now.
That was the golden age of TV, though. That 2005 to 2012, 13, like that was the golden age, man. If you had a show that started around in there and you had enough money to stay, you're still on TV now if you want to be. It's like now, man, to get on there and to have staying power, you better have some deep, deep pockets or something that nobody else has got.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like Drury Outdoors was like the same era, but like I like Drury Outdoors stuff from back then better than what they're doing now.
Yeah.
I mean, like those old DVDs were just like.
Well, I think there was something about that at the time because it wasn't like on demand. You could watch thousands of hunts. It was like you had your people. You put the monster bucks in. You put, whatever the Druries. We had those DVDs, and Uncle Mike would come to camp and be like, "I got the new DVD," and like everybody sat down around the table at camp to watch those videos.
It was Primo's Truth About Whitetails, man.
Yeah,
that was I can tell you the first VHS I have. I can tell you every hunt. And, the one guy I've never gotten to sit down and talk and meet is Will Primos. And that's the guy that was the biggest influence on me in the beginning was I watched Will Primos shoot so many elk and so many big deer. And that was, for me, the big one was those VHS tapes and that little tiny, probably 14-inch TV we had that had the VCR built in. Mm-hmm. And we would watch that freaking thing on repeat. And that was, to me, it's like, holy crap, there's guys that are getting paid to do that. I'll never forget he shot a big, it was like a 13-point deer back then. It was just how many points it was. Didn't matter what it scored. And I remember you could see the deer coming in, and then you just see the camera moving. It's just at the ground, and he shoots. You hear the arrow hitting everything, and it runs off, and he comes back to the reaction. And we'll come to find out, I'm pretty sure it was Chris Ashley that was filming it way, way back in the day, big E&G cameras. And Chris saw the deer and was looking at it. He's like, holy crap, that's the biggest. And he never looked in the camera. just the camera was just moving, and he never got any of it because he just never looked in the camera. He was just watching the deer because he was in awe at how big the deer was. And then, but they played it because it's Primos, you know. And back in the day, you know, I've talked to stories, you know, those guys, you know, Real Tree, Primos, HS Strut, those guys back in the day, you know, they'd go to a trade show, an NWTF or a Buckarama or something, and they said they would literally fill any trunk, any bed of a truck they could with as many VHSs or as many, you know, before DVDs, as many VHSs as they could, and they would sell them for $30-$40 a piece.
Yep.
He's like, we were making so much money. So much money. He's like, it didn't matter how much it cost. People wanted them because that's the only way you could watch it.
Yeah.
There wasn't the network TVs like there are now. You know, there wasn't anybody with a camera or a GoPro can have a quote unquote, you know, show. And that was the golden age. You know, that's why Lee and Tiffany have been doing this for 20 years. They obviously worked their butt off and they done everything right and they kill big stuff. But they got in there at the perfect time.
Does anybody still produce DVDs of hunting shows anymore?
I'm sure some people
I think
do.
like Whitetail Adrenaline.
Yeah, I was gonna say Whitetail Adrenaline.
That's all they do is DVD.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm
but
sure
it's like
there's
a
some
niche
people
thing,
that-
you know.
But yeah, and that's another thing is finding what that niche is, where you fit in, where you add value. That's what we tell people all the time. It's like, what can I do to do this, that, and the other? It's like, how can you add value? And that might not be in front of the camera. That might not be killing big deer. That might be you're really good at this thing that nobody else is good at.
Yeah.
Find a way to add value.
Yeah.
Trout dip.
Trout dip.
Trout dip.
You're damn good at that.
That is my niche, boys. Some guy asked me for the recipe and I almost punched him.
Yeah.
You think I'm just going to give that away
yeah,
to you?
exactly.
I didn't know you at all.
Yeah, I'll give
Turns
you
out
this.
the guy was super cool. And I was wrong. That guy, the Crossman guy.
You just went South Dansville.
Did I?
Yep. You leaned back and went totally South Dansville on us.
It's because it's super late at night. Oh my God.
If this is if we're keeping you up, you can go to bed. Because we're having a nice conversation, but I feel like you're pushing us along here.
What?
Hey, if the old folks want to go to bed,
oh wow,
we can get you in your walker.
Geriatric hour here.
All I did was ask you politely to leave earlier than you want to do, and now you're holding that on me still.
Sorry,
I'm not pushing anything along, man.
People don't forget. All right,
you leaned back and almost went into a coma.
Well, who knew it went back that far?
Yeah,
it's a big couch, big deep couch.
Big deep couch. That's what this is.
So Keagan, how'd you end up getting? Because I briefly heard we all went around the room. That was kind of cool to hear who everybody was, who they are, what they do. But so you were you were a fishing guide, sounds like?
Yeah, I started guiding fishing right out of high school.
Okay.
On Lake Michigan. I grew up in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And then 5 years of that, had started a construction company in between that. Was still guiding in the summertime on the lake, in the wintertime on the ice on Green Bay.
Cool.
And then met a guy that got me hooked to go up to Alaska, and I had always wanted to do it. And then I started guiding fly fishing in Alaska. My first year, when I went to go up there, I had to step down from a bunch of committees on the fire department that I was on, and a bunch of real small town guys.
Explains the mustache, doesn't it? Fire department, all of a sudden, it's like
the mullet. I don't think that they would accept the mullet in the fire department.
Not regulation. No. You're not. Nope. Mustache, on the other hand?
Those were a lot of years ago.
Yeah. You could get away with a lot of stuff back then.
Things have changed.
Oh, the hair was a lot shorter back then.
It kind of looks like you're on fire if you're running. I think behind you.
Always. It flows in the wind. But when I had stepped down from the fire department, a few of those committees, a few of the old guys that were on there, small town, they never really left, farmers, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, hey, it's a really big deal to get out of the county, to go and, see the rest of the country.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't really think anything of it. I was just super stoked to go up there. But that kind of hit me. And then I got into photography and filming up there and coming back and forth and guiding. And then I really got into it. Would have been my third year into Alaska. And then I was like, I started freelancing in the off season, getting really big into it, and like my photography took off, and I ended up guiding photographers up there.
Okay.
And then it just became one of those where like.
So how many years were you up in Alaska then?
I guided 4 years up in Alaska.
Wow. So you were living up there 12 months out of the year, or you would come
Just
back
in
down?
the summertime.
Okay.
So I'd guide there from May to October, and then I'd come home, and then I'd freelance the rest of the year, fall hunting season. Then I'd guide ice fishing, and then guided a couple years waterfowl season, and I would shoot photos and video for a duck hunting guide down in Kansas.
Yeah, you
Up in Kansas.
any duck blind girls or what?
Down in Kansas.
Up in Kansas.
You know, he's
From
so
Wisconsin.
outnumbered. Like, he's, where's that? Like, there's 4
I'm
Yankees.
still
here.
throwing my 2 cents in.
4 Yankees.
He's in the corner of the room. We can just dogpile him right now.
Oh,
I'll fight.
I don't want to.
I'll fight like hell.
I don't want to. He gets.
So he's a duck guide guy?
Yeah, you're a duck guide. Did you get a lot of girls in the duck blind, did you?
No.
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 It's
So
that's
that's a
not
myth.
true. It's a myth. It's a myth.
Myth broken.
The
Myth
guy,
broken.
the percentage of women
Was there
that
a
I
myth?
guided in 10 years, not very high. Like,
I was
for
waiting
sure,
for something very
less
like,
than 6%.
specific.
So
not
what you're
very
telling us is you were about probably 6 years too early in the duck guide business.
Yeah, if you're in it now, you'd be doing well.
Yeah, a lot of celibacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes with the territory.
But
Duck monk.
yeah, especially guiding Alaska.
Yes.
No way
Definitely.
they'd resist that Kansas waterfall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kentucky waterfall. Sorry.
Kentucky waterfall. Yeah.
it can be any waterfall you want.
Kansas is too flat to have any waterfalls.
Well, there's like
There's
one, but
puddles
that's
there.
just like a leak in the sewer pipe.
Yeah. Well, it's in the creek. You ever heard the difference between a creek and a crick?
We'd
Well,
love to get the
I
definition
almost
of
only
that
call
on
them
here.
cricks.
I have an
This is-
idea, but
This was I can't steal. This was actually Steve Ranella.
I know the answer to this.
You do?
It's tires. Is there tires in it or not?
Creek's just a small tributary of water. A crick is a small tributary of water that has a tire in it.
See, I've always called them a crick my whole life.
You're a Yankee,
Crick?
so
Yeah.
Always call it creek.
It was a creek if it was slightly smaller than a river, but it was too big to be a crick.
Creek.
So most of them are cricks.
I don't know if I've ever said crick
Oh.
on purpose.
Mm.
We had a creek behind us.
I also
because
call
you get
them roofs.
at my age,
Huh?
you start getting
Also say it's a
cricks in
roof.
Roof, yeah.
Yeah.
there.
Got a nice roof on your head. Yeah.
Gotta-
So we're good at that, getting off track here.
Yeah.
So you,
we're real good too.
yeah.
That's
So you're,
like our specialty.
it is, yeah.
You should meet Ryer.
But we
It's
got to
it's a skill.
keep track of Jason. We want to make sure he stays awake here. We want to keep him engaged.
Wide awake.
I will
Okay.
slap the hell out of Jason if he falls asleep.
I'm wearing glasses.
Good night now.
What?
I would
Yeah.
love a good, nice slap to just beat those
You'd hurt
glasses
your
right off his
hand.
face.
You'd hurt. What is the violence all of a sudden?
I
You're
don't know.
boys.
Hey, he's from the South. He's still mad at you for the Civil War.
Calm down. I understand why he's mad at me because we took away some of his rights.
I'm just
I understand
offended.
that.
I'm just offended you called me. I'm just offended you called me boy just now.
Listen, boy up here is different than boy
No,
down there. Yep.
You ever met a boy that's get on all fours and leave 5 tracks?
Did we just meet one?
No.
No. As a matter of fact, you
Does the
did.
belly count?
Yeah.
That's 5 tracks then.
Yeah, 5 tracks. It doesn't matter. 5 points of contact. That's what
Buddha,
he's saying.
Buddha would have left 5 tracks.
Buddha, yeah.
Y'all know what I meant.
I know what you meant.
I
Not the
didn't
point.
know what it meant at all, but now I understand.
He's
I don't think
trolling.
I like it.
He was
I don't think
trolling.
I like it. Trolling.
So you end up coming around. You did your whole
Duck
your
guide.
guiding
Yeah. So
all over the place.
yeah,
But then you got into photography.
yeah, I just got into it basically because of like those guys that told me on the fire department, like, hey, it's a big deal. I wanted to show them like what the rest of the world was like.
Yeah.
We had this conversation kind of.
Yeah. So I started my company called Wildlife because at the time I was living what everybody thought was a really wild life.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to show that off. And I just fell in love with photography and videography and being able to tell that story of what I was actually doing. And then, a couple of years go by, I'm freelancing, guiding, doing all these different things. And my ultimate goal was always like, this is just what I want to do for a living. I want to be able to shoot photos for a living. I want to tell these stories and everything else. It happened that I went to a Redneck Tech editing class in February, the like primo of goose hunting. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go to Georgia, and I'm gonna go to this class. Outfitter I'm with was like, really? And I'm like, sorry, this is a big deal.
Worked out.
So I went to that, which is where I met Caleb, and I've been talking to these guys for a year, and then just became friends, kept in contact, and I'd actually signed a contract to go up to Alaska and guide this year, and Caleb called me and was like, hey, send me what you're good at and what you're not good at. And I was like, oh, that's going to be a rough list.
Long list, yeah.
Second one's real bad.
Grooming yourself, not good.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, haircuts,
not good.
Not a strength.
No.
Personal hygiene, low.
Low
On the old totem pole.
Yeah.
Got a great dick broom, though.
I like that you guys aren't on the PG version anymore.
No,
like,
I know.
We are.
Yeah, I've never been on a PG version.
I heard Redneck Tech. You guys.
Yeah, it's late. I'm getting giddy at this moment. So
Yeah, that
who knows?
that sugar, that 2 cups of sugar in there is
Sorry, Mom.
hitting hard.
But yeah, no, he called me, and I had like already signed a contract, ready to go to Alaska this summer. He called me, and he's like, "Hey, I need you to come film. I want you to come work for us." And I'm like, "When do you want me?" This is a Wednesday afternoon. And he's like, well, I need you to film in Texas on Monday.
That's how it works around us.
And I'm like, okay, well, like, I'd kind of like to come to the office and, like, make sure my stuff's squared away. And he's like, when can you be here? And I'm on my phone, and I'm like, there's a flight.
You're in Wisconsin.
Yeah. At my family home on Wednesday afternoon. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, there's a 5 a.m. flight tomorrow morning. Thursday. All right, I booked that. And he's like, oh, that'll work. So I got on that. I've been home for like 2 days since.
Oh, my God, that's wild.
And it's just.
And that was recently.
Hey,
April.
You got to live up to your name, Wildlife. I mean, let's be honest.
You're living it.
And it's just.
You're in the Bristol Hills right now.
We are.
Yeah,
everywhere.
It's getting wild now.
Mm-hmm.
Life's really.
There's a whole bunch of fireflies out there.
Oh, we've been dealing with some good fireflies.
Does he not know about fireflies?
No.
Never seen them?
No.
I didn't from Wisconsin.
I'm starting some shit.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
You guys don't have fireflies in the South?
Yes, we do.
They do.
But they're not called fireflies. They're called lightning bugs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard them called that before.
I literally didn't know that.
Yeah, when I was 4.
I've lived there for like several months now, and nobody's told me that.
That's what I do. I add spice to things.
You're
offended.
the seasoner.
I'm a seasoner.
I didn't add any spice to that trout dip.
How did you know? You didn't have any of it. You're lactose
I watched you
intolerant.
make it.
I added that shit.
It was all the things that you would eat to make it not spicy.
Dill. Dill isn't that? I put spice. Is dill a spice?
Dill is not
dill's
spicy.
a vegetable.
Don't walk into giving your recipe away.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, he's trying to.
Wait a minute. Dill's an herb.
It's an herb.
That definitely doesn't make it spicy.
Not all spicy.
Oh, dill pickles are vegetables that have been pickled.
Let's
in dill.
leave the cooking to me. All right.
Yeah.
We'll
stay on our side of the
do a
fence.
semi-good job
plug
at
for Ellsworth
hosting.
Cooks.
Ellsworth Cooks.
Not my lane.
If you want some trout
I'm gonna
dip,
stay in my lane here.
Ellsworth Cooks.
It's my niche.
Yeah.
Bring your own trout.
Yeah.
I was,
But just to clarify, it's lightning bug and not firefly.
I'm not going to argue with you
literally
tonight.
didn't know that.
Thank you.
No.
Because
I have no problem with calling it a lightning
it just
bug.
bothers them.
Good.
Yeah.
I
Not-
also had
every once in a
literally
while I like
never
to bother
seen one
Oh my God!
until
Go
I
outside
was
right
in
now. There's a billion
Iowa
out there.
in like
I just peed on one.
Heck yeah, you did.
Shot it right out of the air.
Yep.
Got it all over myself. But it was worth.
That one we're naming R. Kelly.
Yes. That was.
I'm gonna piss on you.
Pee on you. Pee on
Drip,
you.
drip, drip.
God bless America.
That was an American classic. That
Oh,
song
100%.
was.
Yeah, it really was.
I want to pee on you.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Can't say. I
So
heard that
I'm-
one.
No.
I'm interested. You guys have both had a unique journey. Yours very new in getting into this, but like you, Caleb, like you really like kind of walked yourself into this business, and we're all a lot of people that listen to this, and including myself, you're all trying to find your niche, but find your way. But like, at what point, or was there like pivotal point for you where you made a connection pretty earlier off with Jeff Foxworthy doing that show. I mean, that was probably a pretty massive point in your career, but to get to where you are today with the clients that you're working with, I mean, what do you think that the it factor is that you bring? Is it your?
I think it's two things. I think it's, you need to be, which is a major reason why I came up here and why I was not hesitant, is you cannot put enough importance on networking and meeting new people. You absolutely have to be able to network, know how to network, and then understand how to be the guy that can be in a group of guys in a hunting camp, and everybody, when you leave, you're the guy's like, hey, I like that guy. You're not the guy that's like, that guy's a pain, that guy needs extra things, he wants more attention, he wants the attention on himself. You can't be that guy. You got to be the guy that people do not mind in your camp. I do not care how talented you are. I don't care how good or bad you are at something. If you aren't a guy that can network and be the guy in camp that people enjoy having around, you're not going to make it. The second thing is you've got to be good at the little things. And what I mean by that is, I tell people all the time, I've told people 2 or 3 people tonight this, I'll tell you straight up right now, we are not the best editors. We are not the best field producers. We're not the best anything. But I would venture to guess we are the best at all the little things. Communication, replying to messages, emails, Instagram messages, answering your questions. If we say we're going to do it, we're going to do it. If we can't do it, you'll know why. Mm-hmm. It'll be black and white. We over-communicate. We always answer our phone. We run our business the way a business is supposed to be ran, because there's so many people in the creative space, and this is what I learned a lot at my old job of what not to do, is most people are like trying to catch the Easter Bunny on a phone. They've got a cell phone that's literally within arm's reach of them at all times. 19 different ways to message them between Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, text message, phone call, email. 97 ways of getting hold of somebody, and you can't get them. There's nothing in this world that makes me more mad than that.
It drives me bonkers.
And there's no excuse for it. And if you're that person out there, quit, stop, because I would seriously put 75% of the business that we have, that we currently have, is because our clients know that they know they can count on us. I will always answer. I will always call you back. You don't see a unread text message on my phone or a missed call, because I have anxiety if that happens. And there's so few people that do that. They feel like, well, it's Saturday, I'm not answering that email. I'm never off. My wife kills my wife. But I'm like, this is why we have the business that we do, is because I do all these little things that everybody else sucks at. Mm-hmm. And creatives are really, really, really good at being creative, but they only can be creative within their own parameters. They don't work with timelines. They don't call you back. They don't deal with constructive criticism. They can work in their genre and in their time. Well, that doesn't translate into a good business. So I try and be really, really good at the business side of it. And then I let the guys in my office that are really, really, I'm a creative guy, but I'm not creative like Ryer's creative. He's a savant in some different things. He's also, he's unreal. A special Is
that why
person.
You left him home?
Yes.
Because he's so special?
Yes. But anyway, it's one of those things where I have a crew of people that I couldn't do what I do without them. And I know what I'm really good at. Mm. And that's managing people, communicating, and running the business, trying to be strategic in what I'm doing. And then I know what I'm not good at. And I hand those things off. Like social media, suck at it, hate it. That's why Keagan does it. He still yells at me when I get on there. Yeah. But that's what I need. I need somebody to literally slap the phone out of my hand and be like, quit. That's not your job. I yelled at him
on the airplane.
Yeah. Ryer yells at me daily. And I shot something that he's edited this spring, and he called me in there to his office like I'm like the principal. and he goes, he's like, you shot this, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, where's this? And where's that? We're like, what the hell, dude? And I'm like, sorry, guy. My bad. I was like, I don't know what I said, but he's like, you're missing some stuff. I'm like, yes, sir. But we have that relationship to where it's a trust thing.
We have the weirdest office.
It does, but it is. It's
the greatest.
It is, and I really try and value that, but I also understand like this job and what we do is, and I remind the guys of this all the time. I'm like, first thing is, you cannot put a price on the people we've gotten to meet, the things that we've gotten to see, the places we've gotten to hunt. Like takes hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to get to step foot and hunt on the ground that I've got to hunt on in my life. I mean, numbers don't even begin to start. And then the second thing is, if you can't enjoy what you're doing in this job, if something's bad or if something's negative, I could literally go to where we were tonight or to my local hunting store or to any hunting store in the country and find a guy that would be willing to kill you for your job.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's digging ditches.
100%.
He's climbing a power pole. He's sitting behind an accounting desk. He would literally murder someone to do what you're doing. Yeah. It's like, okay, there's value in that. I understand we have to make money. That's part of it. I mean, I get that. I mean, that's why we do it. But I tell the guys is like, the reason I want to make money is that's the way to keep score. That's a way to see, to pit. I play baseball. I'm a competitive person.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know that I'm
Especially
keeping
in ping pong.
You want to go after this?
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Fire it up.
Bring it on.
Whew, that sounds like it's pretty late.
Anyway,
go to bed, Grandpa time.
Midnight ping pong. What are we on, cocaine?
Black Rifle Coffee is what we're.
That's
but it's a thing to where the money's a way to keep score. But I want to do projects, and I want to make more money. So there's things in the office and as a group that we talk about that are projects that we want to do that nobody's going to pay us to do.
Yeah.
I want to make enough money to where I can say, hey, we're taking the entire month of July and we're going to go do this project. Like I've got literally, and if Ryer was here, he would tell you, I'm a notes person. I'm a list person. I've got a phone full of, like if something happened to the Notes app at Apple, I'm screwed.
You're done.
I'm done.
You mean like that time I accidentally deleted mine?
Oh yeah. Well, I have so many different lists and notes and, things that I use to keep up with my thoughts and ideas. I don't know. My brain's funny. I come up with things like we're working on a film right now. I'm not going to tell too much about it because we've been keeping it pretty close to the chest. I literally had the idea. I can tell you where I was driving down the road and it hit me like a ton of bricks going down the road. The idea did fully formed. I immediately called Ryer, and Ryer's as good of a communicator as I am. He always answers. Answered the phone. I tell him the idea. He's like, that's really good. I'm like, please, God, write it down because I'm driving down the road. He writes it down, and we've been shooting and working on it for almost 2 years, and we're just now getting to where we can edit it. And he's working on the edit right now, and we've kind of sort of teased it. We've kind of sort of talked about it, and I've told some people I really trust about the idea and what we're doing. But I've got a handful of other projects and ideas, and so does Ryer, and so does Keagan. Like I'm like, if money's not an object and we have these opportunities and we're capable of anything, there's so many things that we want to do and so many stories we want to tell. It's like, okay, is there a story out there that you want to do that you want it to be a passion project? I would love to do 2 or 3 a year. This year we're going to get to do 1. But I want to get to the point to where it's like, hey, we're going to take 2 weeks off and we're going to go do that thing. I want to be able to create and tell stories that we want to tell, because if we can't do that and we can't enjoy what we're doing, can't be true to who we are, then why are we doing it in the first place? So I don't feel like I ran it there.
From my outside perspective on Copeland, I think it's the so I've sat in a lot of corporate worlds, big long tables where hard corners, where my way or the highway, don't give me any feedback on my ideas, and it's such a failure. Mm-hmm. When you round a table to it always borderline, or I was, because I'm just an older guy that grew up with you just didn't question your boss. Your boss's word was I grew up on a farm.
Yeah, you were like a disciple.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. But like from what I've seen, you've broken that. Where it's almost borderline. I'm like, whoa, I can't believe they're talking to him like that. Like, but like, Ryer, I can't believe you. First of all, like, you're not a small man, and Ryer is not a strong man. And I look at Ryer, and I'm like, if he would have talked to me like that, I'd slap the red off of him. But what he's saying kind of makes sense, and I enjoy it. But at the same time, like, you've given all those guys
Ryer's, but you know, Ryer has, in my opinion, earned the right. You know, he's proven to me, and he's proven to a lot of people what he's capable of doing. But I also think, like, when people, it really bothers me when I say it really. I don't like it when somebody says I'm their boss.
Yeah.
I don't like it when people ask me, you know, does Ryer work for you? I want somebody to say I work with them.
That was the.
I don't like the, and I don't see myself as a quote unquote boss. It's like the bills come to me and I make sure everybody gets paid and I do all those things. But I see this as I grew up on teams.
Right.
And teams, if everybody's rowing in the same direction and everybody's on the team with the same goal, you know, does there need to be a captain of the team? Yeah, there needs to be a captain of the team, but if somebody's got a better idea than me, I don't want them to not say it.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's a huge failure for that person to be too scared to talk.
And I'm also one of those guys that will not ever shy away from the fact that I have been wrong many times.
I don't know what that feeling's like, but
and
it's got to be tough for you.
And I have a lot of ideas.
Like 1,000 years of your life, you've never been wrong once?
My thought process immediately went to my grandfather's mug that said, I thought I was wrong once, but I was just mistaken.
Yeah, that's classic.
What's funny, though, is like listening to you like talk about all the things that make it a great business and what's made it successful is like that can relate in like any business. Like being there, answering your phone, doing what you say you're going to do.
Oh, God.
Like all of those things. Like, you know, there's competitors in the business, and it's like what separates you.
Right.
And like what are people saying about you or whatnot. But it's like, you know, if you don't have any complaints coming back and they're like, when your name comes up, they're like, oh, he took care of this like he said he was going to. He did that like he was going to. He was there for us. Like, that's any business. Like,
you're absolutely
period.
right.
Yeah. Well, but I think it goes back to, if we even simplify that and dumb it down even more, I got 3 kids. And you look at the job force right now. Nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to do anything. They don't want to do any. They don't want to pay their dues and work a job that they think's beneath them. They don't want to dig a ditch. They don't want to work at Taco Bell. They don't want to do any of those things. If you can teach a kid, this is my goal for my kids. My dad's the greatest man I've ever known. If I'm half the dad my dad was, then I've done a good job. But I'm looking at it in terms of when I'm trying to raise my kids. If I can raise my kids to be good communicators, regardless of the medium, and have a work ethic, they are set in this life. If they're willing to get up and go to work, and they're willing to answer their phone and be a decent human being, they're set. That's all you. And if you really boil it down, that's all you really got to do. You ain't got to be the best at nothing. If you're willing to work, you're willing to put in the time, you're willing to communicate, that's all you got to have. And that's when that when I hire guys, and I told Keagan this, I told Ryder this, I told Clay this. It's like, listen, I don't expect you to literally have it, surgically attached to you. But if a client calls, if I call, like, I need to know that I can count on you. And that's how I know. And I try my best not to abuse that. Sometimes I want to, and I try my best not to. But, like, Ryer has, like, one of our clients, Brock, he calls me or Ryer a lot. Ryer will answer him in the shower. Like, there's no excuse to not, it's like, hey, I'm here, I'm available. What do you need? And then we'll bend over backwards. And if we can't do it, we'll tell you we can't do it. But, like, the fact, when you don't know an answer, like I was telling Troy tonight, it's like, when you send out emails, you talk to people, this, that, and the other, and they hem and haw around, they do this, that, and the other. I would rather you look at me and say, listen, dude, I hate your guts.
Right.
Please, God, don't ever call me again.
Right.
Be like, well, that's all I need to know.
At least I don't have to keep barking up this tree.
Moving on.
Like, I deal with customers daily, and, like, one of the biggest things is, like, if I don't know something, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
And like everybody understands that because they've dealt with me for so long. And it's like they respect that. They're not like looking at me like I don't know everything. I should know everything.
Yeah.
They're looking at me like, well, he doesn't know it. He told us that, and he's going to follow up to make sure it gets taken care of.
Well, here's another thing that I've realized too over the years. You don't know what they don't know. And sometimes I feel like I over communicate, and and a lot of people assume, they'll start talking to you and assume you know how we got from A to B when they really don't. They start talking, you see them glaze over, and you're like, this dude's in the spirit world right now. Like, he doesn't know what we're doing. But like when people come to our class, it's usually the first thing I tell them is like, listen, I don't know what you don't know. So if I start talking about codecs or H.264 or ProRes 422 or Pertnear versus this, if you don't know what those things are, you have to tell me because I don't know. I'm assuming you have a baseline. And some people have a much higher baseline than other people. That also comes with life. You know, it's almost sometimes bad with how many forms of communication we have. And then you'll get group texts going, email chains, 97 different ways to communicate. And then you just assume everybody read all that. You assume that he understood what you said in that text message, or she got that memo, or they got that email and this is approved. And then something goes out and you're like, whoa, how did this happen? It's like, well, the 97, thread email that you got sent around, it's like, well, I was on vacation for a week. You can't assume anything. All assuming does is get you in trouble.
Well, I mean, that can be like the same thing. Like you have a family group text going, and they went nuts, and it's like 97 messages that day, and you just open it to get the notifications to go away, and you move on.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I didn't actually read all of those, and somebody brings something up, and you're like, didn't know that. And they're like, well, we said it in the group text.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have no idea.
Sheila's pregnant again.
Also, shameless plug,
Those
we
are
have a
issues.
production class August 3rd through the 7th in Dahlonega, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up.
Yeah.
Coming up. One spot left.
We have one slot left.
Hot damn.
Yeah, it was
Maybe
full,
we'll fill
and
it.
we had one person that had to. It's actually in law enforcement. And he has court that day, and he can't get out of it. So
damn. So
we didn't really think that was a good excuse, but
yeah, it's court. I mean, it's
somebody
government.
did.
No big deal.
It wasn't.
The
My
government.
cooking didn't drive them away.
No, trout dip.
No, but we haven't told anybody that you're cooking, so we're gonna need about 6 slots filled now.
That's gonna be a pleasant surprise.
Whoopsie daisy. That was my fault.
We were Pertnear full until you said that.
Pertnear.
Just trying to feed them.
You were trying to feed them, but may not be enough of them.
Not gonna happen.
That to me, like that discussion there, just that was a random question, but I think that's such an incredibly valuable discussion that hits anybody who's listening. It doesn't matter if you're trying to get into whatever industry, your day-to-day business, your success is blocking and tackling. If you do the simple things in your job, and Jimmy and I work for a great company, and those are the core principles of our business is do the little things, communicate, do that stuff, and you will create advocates, you'll create relationships, and people that are literally will sell your product for you.
Yep.
And I'm sure that's what you guys have experienced, and Jason, in your past career. And we've been sitting here just busting your balls, and I've enjoyed that.
That's fine.
But I'll tell you, like,
do what you got to do, man.
I
Do
met
whatever
you.
makes you feel better.
I met you via phone 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
He was prettier.
Yeah, through the phone, he was. I was like, this guy, I can't wait.
Very handsome on the phone.
You made a major change in your career, in your life.
Yep.
7-8 months ago.
7 months ago. Yeah, 7 months ago. December.
None of this existed 7 months ago. These connections. You had some friends, but you had none of these.
He didn't have friends.
And like, so you know how you know. Obviously, he's hit it off with you guys.
Yeah.
But this guy can go to something, and next thing you know, he's just like everywhere.
Oh, you could drop him at a Denny's in Memphis, Tennessee,
Yeah.
and he'd be friends with the entire world.
You don't want to go to Memphis.
Not at Denny's either.
No.
I'm just saying that's the lowest of the low that I could think of.
Yeah.
Next to Gary, Indiana.
What was the?
And he'd probably make
Perkins.
lifelong
I would say
connections.
Perkins.
Dude, Perkins had a mean bread bowl. That thing,
Dude.
God, that was a good.
I
That was a good
crush
menu
a
item.
Perkins.
They have
Denny's
great
is,
pie.
Perkins?
Tiger Woods
Perkins
liked their
by
pie
us
there
has-
too.
Oh, I hope he's not listening to that
Yeah,
one.
I know.
Jeez.
Very nice. Saw that one there.
Very nice. How much?
Yeah, 7 months ago, none of this existed.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure it's a good thing that I brought all these.
2 months from now, there'll be a child.
Be an awful looking child. Yeah.
Come out full beard and pork chops.
But you know, like that's what I think is.
Get a
We're-
couple
this-
bush lights in these guys.
No, but
they
this-
grow 6 inches and
Yeah.
gain 65 pounds and forget they're in the woods in Bristol, New York.
Boy,
What
if
happened
I,
to the rest of those guys? Oh, they left earlier. Yeah.
Never gonna hear from them
Fire
again.
up that backhoe down there, Josh. He don't mind. There it is. There it is. It's starting to come out.
Screwing.
I'd love to
Yeah.
grow 6 inches.
Oh, come on.
I'd be 6'6".
Oh.
I don't even know why I was trying to be serious because
Yeah.
I
you
don't know
know.
why either.
I know.
But you-
Sorry. I apologize.
No,
for
you're
them, too.
no, and I don't even want this to be a serious podcast. But we're having it's a.
Thank goodness.
I don't know.
Yeah. I very fortunate to be involved with so many awesome folks. And I think before my life before, was I was working very hard for other people, and I feel like I'm finally able to work very hard for myself, and thank the Lord for my wife that's let me off the hook with the old gig and letting me do this stuff, and it seems to be going pretty well. I mean,
She's awesome, by the way.
she's
Yeah,
pretty
she is.
great. She's pretty great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm.
I guess
Yeah.
we'll let her hang around for a little while.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that was.
She's pretty
Sorry to
awesome.
everybody else, but that was my favorite person I met today.
She's pretty awesome. She's,
We just cheers the Bush Light, man. And we high fived over a Tiger Woods joke, and I thought we thought we had
Thought we had something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's gonna. He does a podcast every other day with a different dude. You mean nothing.
Oh, I do.
Here's the thing.
You're not supposed to tell him that.
Here's the thing with Jason, and this is what me and Jason.
Hey, that was a good one.
Here's what me and Jason
Put me
have
in my
talked.
place.
We've talked about this. Is like this. I've been so fortunate to meet really good people, and I put Jason very high on that list. Is people are gravitated towards Jason. He's a magnet for other good, and I think like good begets good, and that those people, there's not a lot of them, and when they find each other, that network spreads and that root spreads, and everything about it is good, and I just try and surround myself with more good people, and anybody that meets Jason is going to know that. So it was one of those things to where it's like you can't not have this guy around because he adds value in everything, with his personality, with his stories, with his cooking, with his, just him being there. It makes it lifts everybody up, and I'm all about if I can find something, somebody, piece of gear, doesn't matter what it is, that will improve me, my life, my comfort, my speed, my whatever, by 1%, I'm all for it. And I think the people that surround you bring you up even more than any piece of gear, any type of training will.
Mm-hmm.
And people that are like-minded and that can, like I said, the team that all rows in the same direction. They're all looking out for everybody's best effort. It's like, if anybody in our crew, something happens and that guy, signs a $10 million contract to do something, I'll be like, freaking A right, dude.
Yeah,
Man, that's
good for you,
awesome.
yeah.
Yep.
Rock
Yep.
on,
Yep.
and that you can be happy for other people and you can truly, enjoy their company, and then they all challenge inherently just by the person they are to challenge the people around them to be better. That's the kind of people I'm trying to surround myself with.
Yeah.
I don't have time for negative people. I've had negative people in my life before, and they're not fun to be around. Life's too short to be negative. Life's too short to hang out with crappy people.
100%. I think that's, you are the sum of the folks you surround
100%.
yourself with, and
100%.
if you surround yourself with shitty people, that was that old grandma's tale. You lay with dogs, you're gonna get fleas.
Well, you show me your friends, and I'll show you your future.
Yeah. And that's I feel like someone was, I don't know who was talking about it tonight, but somebody's really mad that a turkey piece of land was getting hunted by another guy, and like the guy was livid about it. It wasn't his property, but somebody else like found out like that there was good turkey up there, or whatever it was, and I was like, man, the only thing that entered my head was like, my God, I'm glad that's never been an issue for me. Like, yeah, there's turkey up there. Well, there's probably a few of them. Let's go see if we can get them together. You know, that's such a better experience than saying, look at all the turkey I killed. You know, that's never done it for me. It's never that's Porter today. I don't know if you guys had met Porter.
Oh, yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about Porter.
Turns out he lives like 2 minutes from me.
He's the best. That kid is aces. And he's telling everybody how to, like, jig for these trout on the lakes, and I'm like, dude, shut up. Like, no, like, not everybody. I'm like, they're all pretty cool, Porter, but not everybody. Like, not everybody.
Just tell those Georgia guys they're never gonna come up here again.
Guy, singular.
But anybody that's asking,
don't rope me into that.
Anybody is asking, you're from Georgia, technically.
Oh no, don't say that. Keagan might fight you.
He's from Georgia, and Ryer's from California. That's what I know.
Well,
Whoa.
Ryer is now on his way to fight you.
Yeah. Tell him to bring it. Bring it, Ryer.
Hey, buddy, you're getting pretty old, and that, you know, that sand's kind of running out. You only got so many days left.
You ever hear about that? Don't try to fight an old guy; he'll just kill you.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Yeah.
That was Big George when we were at camp together.
Yeah.
He started talking shit to me. I'm like, you want to go? And he goes, nope, not really. I'm like, all right. I don't want to either. One of those is going to hurt real bad for a long time. It's just not worth it anymore. But it's, yeah, man, just to think the past. I feel like I've progressed further in 7 months than I have in 10 years.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, just because I've stopped working for somebody else and letting somebody else kind of pull my lead, you know, and having the faith to jump off that train, and you know,
and there's thousands and thousands of people in that same situation that you're in right now, or you know, that are in that spot where they have had enough with whatever the gig is that they've had. They don't feel fulfilled. They're not happy, and where do they go? And
I looked around one day. I'm like, oh my God, I have this, you know, awesome, amazing Jeep, and I have this awesome, amazing cabin in the woods, and I have this awesome, amazing boat, and awesome, amazing side by side, and this lease is right here, and I have zero time for any of them. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm collecting overhead, you know, that I can't use. I'd rather have none of this stuff and time to be able to walk to the creek and fish on the bank. And that's kind of where I got to. I was like, I don't want all this. I don't want all this stuff anymore. That's like, you know, you become the prisoner of your possessions, and that wasn't the way I wanted to live anymore. And like I said, thank God for my wife, who is my biggest cheerleader, and she's like, I don't know why everybody loves you, but it annoys the shit out of me.
She said that to me verbatim.
Yeah, yep. I feel like I'm just doing this all to bug her.
it's working.
It's working really good, buddy.
Good. Yeah,
I'm gonna say, isn't that half of marriage? Is just to do stuff to bug your wife?
Yeah.
So you travel.
I might get married just for that, so I can bug somebody besides you.
It's fun. Sometimes.
You're gonna have
she's fun when she's asleep.
you're gonna have to.
That's another one of my dad's lines.
Yikes.
I've got lots of those.
Yeah, those are good.
Apparently, there's a family trait that we shouldn't investigate.
He goes dark quick, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Real quick, like.
Yeah, he goes south real fast.
Real fast. Yep. From Wisconsin to Georgia.
It's
5 a.m.
It's
flights.
Wisconsin.
It's Cheesehead. Cheesehead.
Oh, come on now.
Don't you know?
Vodka soda.
Just because I'm from Wisconsin doesn't mean I had to go shoot a moose, drink an old fashioned, and have a walleye fish fry, don't you know?
So you want to be a goose guide, bud?
Oh, we can guide you, them goose there, eh?
Your curds just aren't squeaky, if you know what I mean.
No. They're only squeaky after you put them in the microwave for about 3 seconds, and then they squeak in your teeth real good, like, eh?
His own Wisconsin accent.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not as good as my Caleb Copeland.
I'd like to hear your Caleb
Can we hear
Copeland.
that again quick?
Let's bring that back.
I don't think it wasn't him.
Let's bring it back. No, let's bring it back.
I think you just got to listen to the podcast.
You were gonna have to listen to the podcast
I
because you
will.
can't redo it. It was you totally
Plug
just
that
did it.
podcast. What podcast number?
It's Pertnear Outdoors podcast. That was the last one.
Just listen-
159.
just
People are
listen.
listening to the Pertnear Outdoors podcast.
I was
They know
about
what
to
they're
say,
listening to.
Just listen to all of them.
all of
Just
them.
listen to
Start
all
at
of them till you
1,
find
and
it
we'll
out.
talk to you in 7 years.
Yeah.
It's my old man.
It doesn't
my
take that
impression of him.
long.
No, it doesn't. You put it. So today I learned on Spotify that I can increase the speed. So now I
yeah,
listened
you
to like 4 podcasts today that it was like 6 hours worth of stuff.
I hit that button on an accident in my car one day. I'm like, why the hell? Are these guys on helium? What the hell?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm like, what the hell did they just say? What did they just say?
Wow, man. I got to lay off the coffee. This is going.
Yeah.
Am I speeding?
No, once you find a good podcast that you like,
Yeah.
you just go on like 7 road trips and you listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, just drive
That's how
from
I
Wisconsin
listen
to
the Redneck
Georgia.
Tech podcast.
Yeah.
That podcast
I listened to
with
it in
you and
like
your
a
brother
hunting
was
season.
Awesome the other day.
Really?
I loved it.
My brother
That
was very uncomfortable. He listens to him. He had never been on one. He was like,
He didn't sound
he's like,
uncomfortable.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
That was a good podcast.
He
I really
sounded
like the
good,
series
man.
you guys are doing now too. With so you want to be a
So you want to have a podcast? So
Yeah,
you want to have
that's
a web
good.
show?
Yeah.
So you want to have a TV show?
They're
That
great.
series?
they're good.
Yeah, all 3.
So you do a lot of the podcasts? You do? You do them
Yeah,
all?
when I'm around.
Yeah.
Try to.
And so like, because I've listened to a few. I've listened to a few with Dudley. And I don't know if maybe you were on Knock On a few times and
I've
you were
been
with
on
him.
Knock On, I think 3 times now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't listened to it too much, to be honest with you, but
You haven't listened to the Redneck Tech podcast
No.
very often?
No.
All right. Well, I guess we have to go now.
I know this is
I'm-
extremely uncomfortable.
I'm just
but
kidding.
you've never listened to
Coming
the
up on
Pertnear
that
Outdoors
hour mark.
podcast. This is
I actually did a little bit today. He was playing this as part. and it
Yeah, I
didn't
have
come up.
listened to the Pertnear podcast.
you did.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I
Wow.
appreciate you.
This is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hurt in this room.
I know.
all
I
of a
did
sudden.
see. I did see one listen today. So
You
yeah.
could have lied to him.
Huh?
You could have just lied a little bit.
Well, no. So
Oh,
with you-
I love the
with
Redneck
you-
Tech podcast. That's all you had to say.
What podcast do you love?
The Redneck Tech podcast.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Man, I love it. I listen to it all
Shameless
the time.
plugs.
so
Listen to it all the
for
time.
you that with the podcast, because podcasting is all I know. It's challenging to
Well,
get your
own
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. You just listen to your own over.
Yeah.
and
Just
over
my
again?
mind. Yeah. Just every.
What's wrong with him?
It's just one
There's
podcast
other
a week.
podcasts out
Well,
there.
it's
There's
kind of like
quite a
talking to
few.
yourself, but
There's a
you're just
handful
talking to
of
the
them.
world.
I like hearing myself talk. Everybody
Gotta
knows
be
that. Okay.
5 to 10 other podcasts.
You have a good voice
besides-
There's a
for it.
couple. Thank you. Yeah. I've told myself that.
Yeah,
So there's
this is-
Pertnear,
that's all that matters.
there's
Going
Redneck
off
Tech.
the rails quickly.
Who
Yeah.
else has a podcast?
But it's difficult to get a podcast out there, like to get listeners.
Oh yeah,
Like
ain't
it's
lying.
very difficult.
especially in the
How
hunting
many
world
listen,
now.
how many people do you have listening to this?
Right now, 2.
Not right now.
Two. So like
Both of
Is
our
there a way
wives
to, like,
wonder
this-
what we're saying.
this past year was our best year.
Yeah.
And on average is getting like 300 to 350 downloads an episode.
1,000?
No, 100.
350 people listen to this?
Yeah.
Man, I'm so glad that kid never going to be heard.
What the fuck? You just shooting me down?
Dude, you guys been beating me up all night, man. Oh, no, I fire
this
back a
was
little
up.
bit.
All
I
right,
fire
well,
back a
this is
little bit.
fucking
Oh,
embarrassing.
now.
So it's hard.
Oh,
very hard.
No, just
It is hard.
being mean
You're
to
right.
me.
It is really.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you
fat
guys,
old
sir.
drunk
No, it's
son of a
extremely
bitch.
it's extremely hard. But it's like anything else. It's like, starting a YouTube channel or starting a, Instagram page or something like that. It's like, especially now because there's so much competition there and content is so short-lived now. It's like you think about on the scale of what we do for a TV show. So we've got at least 7 to 10 days in filming it. At least 2 weeks in editing it. So let's just say for the sake of argument, we have 3 weeks tied up in that 22.5 minutes of content. For somebody to watch 1 minute of the kill, and it's gone forever.
What do you think?
3
like, that's
weeks
the
tied up into that.
entire thing now. Like the algorithm of TikTok
then-
is like.
And
what?
then let's scale it down to a podcast. Say we record this podcast for an hour and a half. It took us an hour and a half. Maybe you do, whatever editing. Let's say you get 3 hours tied up in this podcast and somebody listens to it. Well, they've got an hour and a half invested in it. We got 3 weeks in a television show and somebody watched it for 2 friggin' minutes.
Yeah.
And you want to strangle people because you ask them about the show where, they say something, hey, I saw that big deer Lee killed. That was cool. Well, is that the only thing you saw? Did you not see any of this story? Did you not see this? The time lapses we did, the interviews, the time and effort that went into this episode? No, it was a really big deer. And it's very frustrating, especially as a creative.
Oh, I imagine.
But then you talk about, how do I have a successful YouTube channel? Be consistent. Do something that nobody else is doing. Create good content.
It sounds like a shit ton of work. That
it is.
Like you think like
it's a shit ton of work.
There's so many.
I've been
people,
grinding for 3 years.
But that says a lot. That says it's not for everybody, and the people that are like jumping in and out of it probably aren't willing to put in the work.
Well, look, here's a great look at Rogan.
Yeah.
Okay, Rogan, made just hundreds of millions of dollars. He did this. He started his podcast back when everybody's telling him, "Why are you doing this? Nobody's ever going to listen to this. This is stupid." And he didn't listen to him. He's been doing it for 12 years now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Almost 2,000 episodes.
He did a podcast back when nobody listened.
I mean, arguably there'd be no Steve Rinella if it wasn't for Rogan.
Yeah. There would be no half of these people.
There would be none of them.
Jocko podcast never would have happened.
Yeah. So, but you look at that.
2 Bears, 1 Cave wouldn't have happened.
2 Bears, 1 Cave, classic podcast. Mondays.
But Rogan started 12 years ago with just the fact that he's like, you know what? I just want to talk to cool people. And he's just genuinely interested in everything.
Yeah.
And he did it for 12 years.
And
now he's making bank.
He's the biggest. He's the podcast.
It used to be if you got on Leno, you made it.
T-H-E.
Now, if you make it on Rogan, you've made it.
Yeah.
Well, look at Volcon.
Yeah.
What they blew up by having a clip on the
shot
Rogan
that, by the way.
podcast.
Volcon.
Yeah. No.
What's that?
All the Volcon footage they just played yesterday on Rogan's podcast. I shot and edited all that. No big deal.
It was beautiful.
Who was the guest?
I don't know who the guest was.
The guest was some random person.
Oh, it was Red Band. Wasn't it Red Band?
No, because I just listened to Rogan today.
It was a few days
So
ago.
you are listening to other podcasts.
I listen to a shitload of podcasts.
Oh, all right.
But not the Redneck.
I'll subscribe to Redneck. If it's just make an agreement, okay? You started today, I'll start tomorrow.
Hey, I posted you on our story already.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
My God.
What have you been
Dude,
doing?
that's huge. I posted you on my story.
Oh my god.
Before we got started. Did you see that?
Did we just become best friends?
We did.
Are we gonna do karate in the garage?
Nice. Ping pong. And it's getting
Ping pong in the garage.
Shut up, Ellsworth. Jesus. I'm on a 4-day bender of staying up to at least midnight.
Well,
4 days?
4 days in a row.
Obviously,
as a
you
dad,
don't work as a creative.
No.
You guys.
I haven't slept in years.
These
I
guys.
get emails from him at 2:00 in the morning. He's still at the office.
Hi.
Spending time in camp with these guys. I don't know if they sleep. But that was every time
I do.
It would just go from
Sleep
work to
hard.
editing to something else.
Well, Chuck, you were with camp with Chuck. He doesn't sleep. His days are numbered. That guy's he's circling the drain right now.
His days were numbered by what? The not sleeping or
Yeah.
the lightning strikes?
But all of it.
From the lightning bugs?
Lightning
love that
strikes.
guy.
Lightning strikes.
I love that.
He's
guy.
been struck by lightning. Chuck has.
Twice.
You'll have to listen to
Is
the
that
Redneck
right?
Tech podcast to get filled in.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, he's been struck by lightning. Indirect strikes twice, yes. Been knocked off his feet twice by lightning.
Jesus.
Is that a lot?
And I
The
can only
chances of
imagine
that.
how much that feels. Because I've been knocked off my feet by a few cattle fences over the years, and that hurts like a son of a gun.
I'll tell
What were you doing with the cattle fence?
Well,
Wow, I
what was
worked
that?
on a dairy farm for several years.
Did you?
Lonely.
Yeah. And the farmer decided to be really funny to turn the fence on and off. And he'd go under it. Sometimes it worked really well. Sometimes it didn't.
I feel like you are the guy that people fuck with, and I really appreciate that.
Well, he's
Because I'm
not.
the guy that people fuck with, and I think Ellsworth's the guy that people fuck with.
Nobody would
Oh.
fuck with Ellsworth. How would you fuck with somebody so handsome?
We've been messing with him nonstop since we got here.
I've not been messing with Jason. I have nothing but respect for Jason.
Yeah, that's because he greeted you with sweet tea and love.
But I also
I
want
got the back
I
seat.
greeted
He
you
knows
with
the weight of my
same
heart.
Thing.
He knows the weight
I
of my
didn't
heart.
get a single sip of sweet tea.
Whatever you
Just jug in there,
Whatever
player.
you two got to do to make yourselves feel better, you just go ahead and do it. I got wide shoulders, boys. Plenty of room for both of you.
That's how I
Go
feel.
ahead.
That's what I tell the ladies about my mustache.
Yeah, he's used to.
He's got big shoulders on that mustache.
Yeah, he's used to carrying
And
the team.
We're just getting to know each other. I'm being pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I said some hurtful things earlier, and I apologize.
I believe he's mean. He can get mean.
Caleb was not you made him sound like he was going to be some giant, like.
I think Caleb was just
Texan.
having, the first time I met him, I think he was just having a bad day.
He was having a bad day.
Like,
I probably didn't sleep much
I
the
don't
night
think
before.
You were, too,
Do you say negative things about me? Do I need to?
On the
No.
podcast, if you listen to Pertnear Outdoors podcast,
No,
you would
I
know. Yeah.
just said my first impression was like, that guy seems pretty serious. I'm going to stay away from him.
Seriously?
Yeah, you were walking around. You were like,
Big dickin'.
Yeah.
Big dick.
And then you came up and you said, where are you from around these parts here, boy? That was something along those lines.
Exactly how I said it.
That was even worse.
A terrible impression.
You're from around these parts
So
here,
that would have been. I'm trying to think back. Like, how would I have been serious? Because like we had two guys actually from New York come to our class. Derek and James. They're actually not far from here. Is where they're from. And they got to the class and like I kind of like introed everybody to the class. And Derek's like, oh, man, I'm so happy. I'm like, why? He's like, I thought this was going to be like a serious class and like we were going to have to be on our best behavior. And you guys are just idiots like us. So I'm like,
surprise, motherfucker.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I was like, I'm offended that you thought this was going to be like a formal, serious class.
Maybe you need to look at yourself in the mirror. You're putting off vibes that people are.
Maybe I am.
Well, I think he's
Why are you so scary?
Well, he's
I told my wife that she's kind of scary sometimes to people.
That would check out.
No, yeah. See, she's like, do you think? She's asked me the other day. She goes, do you think people think I'm intimidating? I'm like,
100%.
I was like,
I'm sorry, Nicole, but
I can't wait to tell her that. I'm like, I think they do. She's like, how is that? I'm like,
she could come off as that,
Yeah.
hot minute if she wanted to.
Oh yeah, yeah. My wife, she means a striped rattlesnake.
You get her in the wrong mood.
She is, man.
Ooh.
Wow.
She would
tiptoe around her side of the office.
Isn't that all of them? Maybe.
I don't know. My wife's a different.
That's why I'm not married.
My wife's a different breed, man.
Reason. I'm glad that. Yep, that's the reason I'm not married. Them girls just nothing but
Not for me, those
pain.
ones. Nope.
Big old pains in the neck.
Yeah, anything that bleeds for 7 days and don't die, you don't trust it.
No,
You get a full 7 days out of that one?
No.
Wow, that's a long stretch.
No hen's gonna break this rooster.
Well, Caleb adds about 6 days to that bleed cycle.
Does he?
Shark Week.
Shark Week? Oh, yeah. Where do you go from there? I don't even.
Yeah, man, we have really. I mean, we're gonna set new records with this one, guys.
Yeah.
I see this podcast going far.
55 people are gonna.
I think we're gonna start only doing our podcast when people are either some sort of inebriated or really
Sign
late
me
at
up,
night.
buddy.
Yeah, really late at night.
Wait, so I got it. The event was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Nobody
that was
wanted
awesome.
to. Well, a lot of people didn't want to leave.
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah,
guys
I didn't
texted
want to
me and said that
leave,
was pretty
but
awesome.
I was kind of forced out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have ridden with me.
Yeah, I could have marketed with so many other people, but
Yeah.
somebody just dragged me kicking and screaming by the
Yeah, like
cowboy
a
boots.
content creator.
I don't feel like that.
It was
happened.
worth it just for the trout dip.
I appreciate it.
No,
wouldn't know.
I think doing stuff like that to get people who are all a lot of people in that room. Some people create content, some people don't. Some people just have something cool to offer with their knowledge and experience. And I think that's what you were going for.
Yeah, I think the agenda was there was no agenda. Like come on in this room, you guys meet each other. I think this is worthwhile. It just kind of really blew my mind that like so many of those guys live within an hour and a half a year and never met.
I think that's where something like that is so advantageous, just because there's so many people in small areas that can call a place a community.
Yep.
And a sports shop like that, an archery shop like that is such a one of those places where everybody goes to.
Yeah.
But you don't meet all of the people that go there.
You're not all there at the
almost
same
ever.
time.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Like you go in and maybe you like passing by, but you're never like in that area where you meet the people that do what you love all at the same time. Where tonight was such an impactful moment for so many of those people who will probably make really good friends and connections.
Yeah, I feel like
off of that.
I think I said it on the last time I've met people in the past 7 months that are
Say the name of the show. Say it.
Redneck Tech Podcast. Pertnear Podcast.
You mean you Pertnear said it on the last show?
Pertnear.
All right, I'm sorry. God darn it, you're making a point.
He was. So you derailed it.
Gone. It's gone.
Call the fire department.
You thought you said
This
it
is
on
a train
you
wreck.
talked about it on the last podcast.
That the
Pertnear
I've
podcast.
made better friends the past 7 months, put better folks together the past 7 months. I feel like if there's one thing, whatever a blessing is, whatever it is, I feel like I could look at two people and be like, those guys are going to have a really cool conversation.
Yeah.
Like putting Kevin McCann together with Porter today.
Yeah.
Those guys went into a
whole nother
different
realm.
zone.
Yeah.
And they were talking about shit that, like, it'll never even enter my stratosphere, but it was really cool to see those guys like hit it off, and I was really like just proud of it. I looked around the room a couple different times, like that's so cool that those guys are talking, because that's going to be a really cool, like something cool is going to come of that.
They were just talking about trout dip.
Nobody was talking. I had to hard sell the trout.
You
tip.
need labels. Nobody knows what the hell this shit is.
Word of mouth.
See, I would not have.
Hey,
listen to me when I tell you this. I'm going to tell you this with like as much Jesus and love as I can.
That's a lot.
You would
He's
not
from the
have,
South.
if you would not have told me what that was earlier today and physically like made me eat it, I would not have.
He
touched that.
definitely did not make you eat it. He made you stop eating it at one point.
That's not true.
But see, I don't try things like that. Like if they don't look like crazy appealing to me, I'm like, I'm not touching it.
That's what.
That is a good point.
The one guy goes, just looked like tuna fish. I'm like, well.
See, that's what I
not
thought
too
it was.
far off that. Yep.
I mean, lake trout, tuna, kind of close.
The heart of that is changing people's minds about eating lake trout.
Is Billy pissing again?
Either that or
small bladder.
Yeah, he pees a lot.
He does.
Yeah. Well, he's been pounding Bush lattes over here like nobody's business, hiding the cans on the couch. This is a nice place.
He's Pertnear drank the whole 30 rack.
Hold on, but is Pertnear the only word y'all have up here? Like, is that it? Is that all you got? Y'all not have any more?
I don't even think we have that word up here if we didn't start using it.
Oh, that Pertnear is like a regular word in my life vocabulary.
See,
Pertnear.
I feel like you guys don't have the creativity in your vocabulary.
Oh,
Pertnear.
just because we haven't talked about crippled coons and watching your grandma run across some ridge or whatever the goofy ass shit y'all say down there.
People say that?
Boy, it made me so mad I had to run over my grandma.
There are so many Southern sayings that Caleb will just one off say in the truck. Then I just like turn and I'm like, the hell?
Give us your three best ones. Right
I would love
three
to
best
take
ones I
notes.
can't say on this podcast.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
No, I can't.
Oh,
100%.
Can we say him off the podcast?
Yeah, I could say them off the podcast. I don't know. I have a list. Let's just refer to my list.
Wait,
Is it in his?
Hold on.
his
Tea for time
Apple
here.
Notes?
You have a list of all these sayings?
Isn't it on
Yeah, I
you
keep
have
up
not-
with them because I don't want them to die with my dad.
You need to send these to me.
Brilliant.
So I can make stickers.
So here's the sayings if y'all want to see my list.
That's so
Bitch.
great.
Awesome.
How
You
do
need to
do
send me
You
that
can't
list
even-
right meow.
And
Is
there's
that-
the words and phrases and what they mean, and
You
then
have to be kidding me.
nicknames from our area. Yeah, I've been
Send me
keeping up
that.
with them for years.
Send me that right meow.
So we have back home. This is in Appalachia, kind of where I'm from. We had the Little-Eyed Howards.
What?
Listen to Little-Eyed Howards. It's a family of the Howards that have little eyes.
Little-eyed Howards.
We have High Pocket.
Wait, do they have like small, like circumference?
I think the family tree doesn't fork very
It sounds
many
like you're
times.
talking about
So
a
they got some
wang.
issues.
Yeah.
Little-eyed Howard.
High Pocket. We got a guy.
I'm gonna start calling that. That's gonna be my.
Oh, dude, that's not even a good one. We got some way better ones.
Johnson, Little-eyed Howard.
That's too late. It's too late.
So we
it's
had
not
a
a Johnson. It's a wang.
had a guy back home that was really tall, and he wore his pants like up around his waist, and they used to call him High Pocket.
That's so good.
We had Bad Eye Billy, Hung Swung, Clabber, Hoot, Woody, Creek Donkey, Boney Abercrombie, Nub and Garner, Burrhead, Claghorn, Lowlife, Slimy, Snuffy, Garner, and Clem Jones.
I love that your voice got so much more Southern as you started saying this shit. You
Guys, I haven't even
started
got-
another Civil War.
Guys, I haven't gotten started yet.
Wait,
Honestly,
go back to what was that? What was the Abercrombie one? That one. That was good.
Boney Abercrombie.
Boney Abercrombie.
Boney, Abercrombie, and Fitch.
So I've got I can't give you all these because I'm gonna write one of those books that you have next to the toilet. I'm gonna write a book like that one of these days with some of these
That's called toilet paper.
toilet paper book. But we have, you know what a poke sack is? It's a brown paper bag. You ain't
Is there a little man in a canoe on top?
no,
A poke sack?
no.
Oh.
What the hell is it called? A poke sack?
I don't know. Uanern is fertilizer.
You entered?
Uanern.
No.
Yeah. No. Have you ever heard of Kjarn?
Oh my God, that is
I've never heard of Keagan.
Kjarn?
Is that a name from a girl from Atlanta?
No, Kjarn's like you got some Kjarn in your eye, like right there. You got some Kjarn. It's like
That's definitely a name from a girl from Atlanta.
No, it's like
100%.
Or the other, like the simpler term is like nastiness. You just got some like nastiness on your face right there. my mom about, you got some Kjarn on your face. Hold on, come here.
I thought calling that sleep was weird.
We always call it
I told some guys.
Sandman is what we called it.
I told some guys this one tonight. I was like, naked versus naked. Like that one, that'll make your kids be more. Yeah. That'll make your kids be more naked. And they're like, "Did you say naked?" Or I can't remember who said that.
That was me.
And I was like, yeah, you know the difference between naked and naked. And they're like, no. I was like, naked is you ain't got no clothes on. Naked is you ain't got no clothes on. You up something. So,
holy cow, we finally learned something.
Can we go back to the fertilizer?
Sure. Uanern?
Uanern?
Is that a brand?
It's just what some old people used to call fertilizer.
Can you start like a Southern fertilizer brand called
How do you spell
whatever the hell that was?
Yeah, can you spell Uanern?
I don't really know how to spell it. I put it in here because I know what the word is.
How did you put it in there?
I highly doubt it has like a correct spelling.
There's a couple of Georgia.
How did you correct it?
Uanern, Yuanern, Uanern.
All right.
Yeah, makes sense. Uanern, your fertilizer.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Like soak it.
Makes all sense in the world to me, man.
Like you soak it in cider.
That's right. Dick and cider.
Yeah. So you could either soak it in cider.
Yeah.
CIDER, or you could soak it inside her.
SIDER.
Boy.
So is most of your? I'm assuming most of your listeners are Yankees.
Yeah,
okay.
It's everybody. It's my family
education.
mainly.
It's a hard why.
Education.
It's hard why. That's what bothers me. Like when normal people say Yankee, it's like when he says Yankee, and it's like hard E's on the end.
And I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Hard letters now are offensive?
I'm offended. Yeah. I don't identify as a Yankee.
What? You're a Yankee too.
I thought we could talk hard letters in this podcast.
Nah.
We can get hard.
You can't.
Letters if we need to.
You can't.
Right
no,
off
you
the
can't.
bed.
Cathead biscuit.
What?
What
is that?
You know these big was
Caddy. You've heard cattywampus. At least you've heard.
Yeah, cattywampus. Yeah, it's a little off.
Hemmed up.
Hemmed up. Heard that one.
You heard henpecked.
Henpecked.
Yep.
Okay.
That's when all the women are getting after
and
you.
I
Right?
actually have.
That's how it is hanging out.
I actually have Pertnear in my list.
Really?
I do.
How do you spell it?
Pert, P-E-R-T, near, N-E-A-R.
Podcast.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Side-goggling.
Please define that for me.
Side-goggling, something's not straight. That's awful, side-goggling.
I always thought that was drunk.
Yeah,
Sideways.
Yeah, cattywampus, side-goggling, kind of the same thing.
Kittywampus.
Pigeon-toed, already talked about that one. Saunder around, my mom always says that. And he's just sauntering around.
Just
kind of
wandering.
Just wandering around, just not paying attention to nothing.
Saunting.
Sonder around.
Saunter.
What a man bear pig. You ever heard man bear pig?
Man bear pig.
All right, heard man
On
bear
South Park.
pig. My mom never says what or what did you say? She'll go, how many?
What?
Yeah,
What?
always.
Funniest thing I've ever heard.
She still does
in my
it.
whole life.
She'll say somebody will say something, not understand it. She'll go, how many?
And the first time I was like, I didn't say a number.
And you know what? Like Tuesday week. You know what that means?
Tuesday week.
Tuesday week.
Choose the week.
No, Tuesday. Like Tuesday week. Well, so we say Tuesday, but like if you say, "Hey, when's that class?" Wednesday week. You know what that means?
No.
Not this Wednesday, but a week from this Wednesday.
Nice.
How they're just making shit up.
My grandmother. These are. I've heard these all my life. My grandmother would always say, "That November, he's a little quar, not queer,
Not queer.
but quar.
Quar.
This thing's just a little different."
Hey, this was a PG podcast until you
I know.
said that.
Sorry. Greasy taters. Everybody knows what greasy taters, and everybody knows what shit on a shingle is.
Shit on a shingle.
Okay.
What? That's
call that frogs
chocolate
on a
on a.
No. That's,
No, my mom used to tell me that my whole life. She's like, if you go to somebody's house and they cook you dinner and it's shit on the shingle, you better eat every bite of it and say thank you.
Oh, if it's not good, if it's burnt,
she said
something
you
not
eat
good.
it and you say
shit on
thank
the
you.
shingles is a Pennsylvania thing. It's
yeah,
gravy on toast.
Gravy on toast.
Chipped beef gravy.
You've heard of sure enough.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
It's good.
Yeah, some of these I can't
It's
say.
real good. You
Shit.
call that frogs on a log.
What you call it?
Frogs on a log?
Wop
Farts on a log?
Wop biscuit. You ever heard of Wop biscuit?
No, but
just like canned biscuits.
Wop
My mom would call them
biscuit?
Wop biscuits.
Italian biscuits.
Like
All right, so let's go to the
song?
sayings. Let's go to the sayings now. This is my dad's favorite, and we know some people like this is uglier than a possum's ass sewed up with a grapevine. We all know a
Sitting
couple.
off camera.
We all know a couple. Yeah.
what?
My dad always used to say this. He's like, she's so ugly she'd make Ray Charles flinch.
Might have used that a time or two.
In the mirror.
Let's see. I can't say that one.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I can't say nothing. I can't say that one. Billy Lawson. Because if I hear a really good one, I'll write down who said it. Billy Lawson said, "Don't call none of them. Feel bad about it tomorrow."
That's how you get hunting
Have you
ground,
heard,
baby. North Dakota.
Have you heard
Is that right?
my old man used to say, if you had half a brain, he'd take it out and play with it. You heard that one?
I have not heard that one.
It's pretty good.
Write it down. You heard it from Ellsworth.
And then,
Using to it. My dad used to say, he says that all the time.
oh, he's just a booger-eating moron. It's just a flat-out good insult.
Yeah,
It's just
you
a boy
can't.
is
It
just a
just puts you
booger-eating
on the
moron.
back of your heels.
Another one from Billy Lawson. I got to give credit's due. They call me Briggs and Stratton. I got a short stroke, but it's high RPM. Run like a scalded dog. I've heard that one all my life. My dad used to say when we were little, he'd be like, "You got lace on your underwear? You got lace on your underwear?" And, telling us we're a girl, and he's like, "Well, I got grease strags I can tie around your ankles so the ants don't crawl up and eat your candy ass." He used to tell us that all the time when we were little.
You're here like a dog, shaking like a dog shitting razor blades.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah.
And my dad used to say this one: "You don't know bear shit from apple butter." He used to say that all the time. So skinny, you got to run around the shower to get wet. That's a big girl right there. She looks like she plays for the Green Bay Packers.
That's how we like our linemen, baby.
That's right.
She ain't a lady unless she's 280. I said that one earlier today.
Still isn't a real thing.
Yeah. As quick as X lax. Feeling froggy.
Froggy is. There are so many different definitions of froggy.
And this one I heard
depending on where you are in the country.
This is one of my favorites.
Is that right?
I heard this from a preacher. I got a 14-inch bluegill mahogany taco stuffer.
From your preacher.
Not my preacher, but a preacher.
A preacher.
Yeah, he doesn't preach anymore. He's in jail now.
Yeah.
Pretty good for a while.
Yeah.
Hell of a fisherman.
Hell of a fisherman.
Tell you what.
Yeah, but those are the couple
big
that
bluegill.
those are the couple I'll give away. I got some of my better ones I'll save.
Yeah.
I love. I think it's in your
Look for
Instagram.
Caleb Copeland's book on dumb shit you say in the toilet.
Southern sayings.
Copeland Creative's got. I think it's all your thoughts from.
My random thoughts. Yeah, I don't do them as
that
much
is
anymore, but I
so
need to.
funny, man.
Yeah,
Those are
I
some
have
funny
um,
thoughts.
I'm opinionated on some things.
Yep.
But here's my thing.
everything: sweet tea, lightning bugs.
But here's the
everything.
thing. I'm very passionate about some things.
Most.
But there's a lot of things I don't know anything about. And guess what I do in those things? I keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
But there's some things I'm knowledgeable on and things that I'm passionate about, and there's things that I'm really, really good at. But there's only a few of them. And I'm very passionate about those things. Once we start talking about, you guys want to start talking about fishing, I'm just going to sit here and listen.
God dang.
What are you passionate about?
Educational.
Huh?
What are you passionate about?
My family, hunting, baseball, my work, and, the people that I surround myself with. Outside of that, I really don't care.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't. Like, I'll listen, and it's hard for me, and me and Keagan actually had this conversation. It's like, I've been so blessed and fortunate with the job that we get to do and the places I've got to see and the things elk hunted the best ground in the country, whitetail hunted the best ground in the country. And then I'll go home and I'll be surrounded by guys in my local hunting store and they'll talking about, they shot another 6-pointer this year, or, and I just don't feel like I can have a conversation with guys anymore because I'm so jaded. And I was explaining this to my wife. I'm like, she's fairly well traveled. She's got to go and do some things with me, and I've tried to take her places. And people that have we bought a 5th-wheel camper, and they'll go camping within an hour of their house. They don't want to go anywhere else. I was like, because people are scared. They're scared of the unknown. They know their little hour, 2-hour, 3-hour circle, and that's it. They're not going to go outside that bubble.
Isn't that wild?
And I was like, but what to those people, the world is so big and scary and unknown. And I was like, to me, and I'm the top 1-2% of people traveling. It's like the world is so small to me. It's like I was in Atlanta this morning. Now we're in New York, and I'll be back in Atlanta in the morning.
Yeah.
Like there's not. I mean, and for to tell the most people, you're gonna get on a plane. You're gonna fly up to New York. You're gonna have a 3-hour meet and greet. You're gonna do an 1.5-hour podcast, and you're gonna fly home. They'll be like, yeah, right. I'm not doing that. That's crazy talk. It don't matter to me. Don't bother me one bit.
Either. I love it.
For me to jump in the truck and drive 9 hours right now.
Love it.
Let's go.
Right.
Let's go.
But if you tell the everyday guy that, he's like, 9 hours? Are you crazy? It's gonna take me a week to plan that. It's like, no, it's not. My truck's ready to go right now. All I need is fuel.
Yeah.
Point me. Point in that direction.
I love
trail mix.
I love looking
sunflower
at
seeds.
Some super talented guys. Like
but he only likes original sunflower seeds.
Not true.
I've
It's
met
my
some
favorite though.
crazy
I've only ever
talented
seen
people
the
that are just so
original.
stuck that I'm like, man, all you have to do is like just go.
Gosh,
There's
man,
nothing
same.
stopping you. There's not. Like, I watch people now that are like, dude, you're going to Idaho, you're going to Utah. I'm like, but like you're going to all these. It might as well be Mars. To
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
And
They
I'm like-
think
I'm
it's
like,
so unattainable.
Like,
Yeah.
That's I really wish you would have came today. Jesse Coots. Do you guys know Jesse Coots?
Oh, very well.
Yeah, awesome dude.
Yeah.
Like probably one of the best DIY guys around this area for sure. But he says it like it's.
Well, you probably know Jesse.
You know Jesse Coots?
Well, Jesse met Lee and Tiffany a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
He knows
When Lee and
Joel
Tiffany-
Mercer, too.
Lee and Tiffany sold the farm they had, and Joel bought it, which was one of Jesse's good friends. Jesse helped Joel move out there from here.
I
and
might
then-
have met him.
and
I
then
don't know.
It would have been
Good
like 2
shit.
summers ago when
Yeah, we hadn't taken over the show 2 summers ago.
Oh,
But, I
okay.
mean, I wasn't working with him. I worked with him for 5 years, and then there was like a 4.5-year gap. But now we're working together again. So.
Gotcha.
He going back, like he gives you a laid out plan. Like, dude, fly to Colorado, like rent a truck, go this over the counter. Like, it might not, what I'm saying might not be accurate, but like he will like lay it out for you. Like, go to Kansas, do this. Like,
You're
ask
talking about
permission.
Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just like the world is such a small place to him too, and I'm in awe of it.
Well, you
because
look
he
at
just, like,
look at
goes.
what, and I've done 3 podcasts with him. I've gone over to his house and sat down, and that's the extent that I know him. We've talked on the phone a bunch of times, but you follow him on Facebook, and he's got 3 daughters.
Yep.
And he's a hot rod. He just takes these and just builds these rat rods, and
It's
they're like
super
they're
awesome.
incredible.
Yep.
And this guy has a network that is ridiculous across the entire country. He can go anywhere and know somebody across this country, but it's his excitement to live. And he took his oldest daughter with him on a road trip over the last week, and they drove with their big car trailer out to Kansas somewhere, and they're going to build her first truck. And like just watching that experience and
It's awesome.
that in
It's
like
inspiring.
as a parent, it's very inspiring because you see what he's doing with his kids, and you want to instill that adventure into your kids.
You'll never truly understand the ripple effects of positivity. Like, I've had people say, like, over the past couple of years of my life, dude, you're like too positive, man. You don't know what I'm going through. Like, it's like toxic positivity. I heard that for the first time. Like, I'm like, what the fuck are you saying to me?
Yeah.
Like, you're living too good, it's making me feel worse. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
I'm not gonna say what I just thought.
it
'Cause
sucks.
there's something I want to say to people like that.
It sucks. Like, brush yourself off. Like, it's that same Joe Rogan thing that he was saying. Woe is me. Like, I'm broken.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. Like, everything's against me. Everything's against me. Get the fuck over it. Get out of it. Like, snap out of it. But I look at very talented people, and I see it, like, that they're stuck, and I'm like, all you have to do is, like,
Take a leap.
just
No,
lean
people
forward.
get
lean into it a
so
little bit.
complacent with their everyday. They get in this routine, in this thing that it's comfortable and it's easy, and then they wake up 10, 15, 20, 30, some 40 years later, and they're like, where's my life gone? I've just spent 20, 30, 40 years in a cubicle.
Yep.
And what have I got to show for it? I got 10, 15 good years left.
Hopefully.
And I got a 401k and a pension.
I've
good luck.
That was my argument against everybody that told me I was silly for guiding across the country and getting into this.
You only get one life, man, and money
Sorry
is not what you gotta. I mean, if you're just chasing money, then good for you. But
those are the people that were asking me about all the
they
coolest
were so
stories.
interested. Yeah.
Right.
And that I go home and they go, "What'd you do this year?" And I tell them one story out of the 365 days of stories that I forgot. And they're like, "Oh my God, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard."
My
and
favorite.
They'll talk down on me because my life wasn't safe.
My favorite one.
Was.
My favorite one is the guys when I go back home and ask about this story or that story, and like, yeah, but man, you gotta film it with a camera. I couldn't give up the bow, man. Like I gotta be the guy shooting. And then I'll be like,
never got there.
And this guy's like, he works for the power company. He's a lineman. Great job, probably makes good money. But you get to hunt on the weekends. I get to hunt every freaking day. I was like, you get a chance to shoot one deer a year just because you want to hold the bow. That's great. I understand. I filmed 11 turkeys, several whitetails, elk. I mean, I got to be behind the camera for 25 this year myself. It's like you got one. It's like you won't give up
that level of experience that you just
I was like,
gained.
and that's when I tried to tell Ryer, because Ryer's like, he's like, well, I'm not a hunter. I'm like, Ryer, you film 150 days a year for like the last 6 or 7 years. You've got more hunting experience than somebody does in 15 lifetimes.
Right.
You talk to Bass Pro Shops, their average customer hunts 3 weekends a year.
That's insane.
3 weekends a year.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's why, like, if you sign up for some of these pro deals, they ask you how many days a year you hunt. If you hunt over 10 days a year, you're considered somebody that hunts more. You're the top 10%.
I always love filling out those forms because I'm like, yeah, I hunt and fish like 340 days.
Yeah, that's not even fathomable for some of these companies and these people. It's like their target market hunts 3 weekends a year.
That's bonkers.
It's like 3 weekends a year. Like, what the hell are you doing with the rest of the weekends? Golfing and watching football? Just blow my brains out right now. Like, just go ahead and shoot me, because this isn't a life worth living if that's all I've got to look forward to.
I had the lease. I managed my lease over in Italy, probably 25 minutes away from here. We have no cell service there at all. So like we have a check-in, check-out series. Like, so there's a list that I've never had, like a compiled list of like my tree stand sits before. I did compiled it all and like forgot a couple. And I was on stand archery season last year, like 96 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. 90 some odd hours. Just like my friends cannot understand.
And you're
I can go
hundreds of percent more than the average hunter.
Well, it's just like my friends can never understand.
It makes my lower back hurt.
No cell service. No cell service over there. Like, what do you do all day? Oh, I hunt. Well, how are you hunting? I'm like, well, I will wait in this tree stand until the wind shifts, or I will move to this place. But like that's like I'm not buried in my phone. I'm actually, which is a newer experience. That that's how I grew up hunting. That's how it was. You were someone put you to stand. They came and got you when it was ready.
Bucket on a tree hillside.
And now, full circle without a cell phone over there. There's nothing. Like my phone is basically a clock at that point. And over there for however many hours, and it's like it's amazing to actually feel the zen of the woods again. Like to be enveloped in it and like not get a million text messages. Not like not be able to scroll Instagram, but like, oh my God, there's, I love, I try to name like 25 different birds in an hour. That's a really fun game I play.
I've never done that.
I don't think I know 25 different birds.
No.
Ooh, Cornell has a really great app.
I heard about this.
I used it up in Alaska a ton the last several years, but you can't
use it without cell service.
No, you can download the pack for your region of the country.
Yeah.
And all of the audio, so you can like press record, and it'll listen.
Oh, no shit.
And it'll tell you the
That's
different
cool.
birds that are singing and what their songs are in their region and all their fun facts. I used it a ton in Alaska because our clients, while they were there for fishing, they were also there for other reasons.
So you were impressing that 6% of your clientele.
Bird nerds.
Hey, whatever it takes, man.
True story.
But is there not a better feeling when you get out there, and especially in the rut, when like you are on point because you know at any second something could happen, and you literally could stand in that same spot in that tree for like 12 hours, 10, 12 hours, and like you don't.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's only a few days where you ever get yourself in that zone where you aren't worried about checking your phone. You're not, and you're just like locked in. Like it's only happened for me a few times where like I'm not distracted.
I always kind of make sure that if I'm in those stands, that's always the possibility. So
And
if I'm
that is
hunting
why
that
I'm waterfowl
stand,
hunter.
like to say, well, I totally love waterfowl hunting, like, but it's the idea that like I'm not going to go reinvest in everything to do it. So I just have really good friends that waterfowl hunt that I get to go with.
I cannot do this for 8 hours.
Oh, well, that's not what I'm doing.
This gives me so much anxiety.
Yeah,
He's sleeping
with
for 8
you.
hours.
I'm with you. There's
Dude, my
like, I just
childhood of deer hunting was I'd get to the stand an hour and a half before light. I'd take a nap.
can't. Yeah, deer hunting.
Eat my snack.
Yeah.
And then
Deer
I'd take
hunting's-
another nap.
Deer hunting's on the decline because of that. You're not getting young kids into deer hunting. The
No.
sitting
Oh,
still,
the-
the being
the
quiet.
instant
They're just not going to do it.
gratification's gone.
Like my kid right now. Like I took him.
But I
2 or
bet
3
if I got him into duck hunting, he'd be an addict.
That's why we're turkey hunting, son. That's why we're gonna. As soon as he's old enough, I'm never going to spring break again. It's like, here, girls, y'all have that beach. We going to kill stuff.
Nice.
But like, I took him twice. We didn't see anything because there's no deer at our house. And he'd sit there for about 30 minutes and he'd be nice and quiet. And he would go, "Daddy, where are the deer?" "I don't know, buddy." He's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, well, like, do something." He's looking at me like, "Can you do something about this?" And he's like, "I wish I could."
But that's where the
I'd be a
spot and
rich
stalk
man.
style hunting comes into play. Because you like the out west style, like
Yeah.
mule deer, elk, where you can do that and you can walk and you
Go
can
to
actually
them,
be
yeah.
active. I think as a way to get the youth into hunting, that is so much more
Why do you
advantageous.
think Western hunting's growing
Or
so
like
much?
what you're trying to do up here, muzzleloader,
that's what-
tracking,
yeah,
Yeah,
and actually
tracking,
doing
deer
that
drives,
is
like
going to get.
I 100% agree, and I think when I'm on, I guess to go back to whitetail hunting here.
Shameless plug for muzzleloader school.
That's right.
Yeah.
Shameless plug for muzzleloader school. The
Pertnear podcast.
Pertnear
Redneck Tech
podcast, Redneck Tech Podcast.
How often are you guys sitting in a tree stand and not seeing deer?
Most of my life.
A lot?
Fairly often, yeah.
Really? Like a lot?
Well, I mean,
How many deer do you see a day?
When we hunt camp, I mean,
0.
there's a lot of hours in a tree stand without seeing deer.
100%.
Really?
yeah. If I'm hunting ag land, you know you're going to see something.
Yeah, like if you're hunting farm fields and shit, like they're coming out.
Yeah.
In the last hour and a half, there'll be deer in the field. But
Yeah.
like over at camp, I mean,
Yeah.
you
Which
could go,
our-
you could go all weekend without seeing a deer.
our camp is
Hardwoods, yeah, you're
5 miles.
see
Over the-
5
over the
deer
state.
season. You're
if
happy.
it wasn't for my son, I would not hunt when I come back home. Not gonna go.
Yeah.
Not wasting my time.
But it's good for him to learn different levels of.
I'm trying my best because, like, when we're filming,
you can't taste the sweet without knowing the sour.
when we're filming, like, I couldn't. I mean, this is freaking Lee and Tiffany's. Like, you don't sit and you don't have
Yeah,
a deer in
it's
front
difficult,
of you.
yeah.
Like, you run deer off going to the stand. You run deer off getting down. There's deer in front of you the entire time.
You mean
Really?
turkey hunting when
Yeah.
there's so many deer running
There's
around? It's
you
hard
literally
to hunt
cannot move because there's friggin' deer everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like it's almost annoying because you want a second to relax, and you don't have it.
Is there that many deer?
Oh my god, dude! There's just the woods literally vomit deer.
It's gross.
They're everywhere.
When we were hunting,
24 hours a day. There's not a time you can't drive around there. Heat of the day doesn't matter. There's a deer out in the
there's
field.
deer
Everywhere.
Walking through the driveway.
Dude, there's
Like,
just
a deer walking there.
and there's 150, 160 inch deer that don't get looked at. Like there's he's 3. It's fine.
Jesus Christ.
It's very hard.
And then you go back. It's like going and skiing in the Rockies and then coming back here and trying to ski here. It's no different.
It's like going-
wrong crowd,
I
bro.
can't
Wrong
scout
crowd.
ski.
No
in
skiers
either.
here?
No, are you kidding me?
I
don't know.
cannot ski in either place, so it's the same.
Okay. So
No.
it's
It's just a
I
hill.
don't think Caleb's
with
ever
snow.
seen snow.
I'll edit that out.
No, it's like going to Victoria's Secret's runway show every day, and then you come home and the only thing you got's Waffle House. That's the difference. And it's like, you know what?
That's a perspective.
None of the
It is.
listeners here
Waffle
have
House.
ever been to Waffle House.
Wait,
No.
I've been. Oh,
I've heard the song by what's that? Colt Ford. He's got a Waffle House song. At the Waffle House.
I'm with you.
You got me?
Yeah.
Did I nail it?
That was a terrible rendition, but
No.
I'm with you.
I didn't feel real good about it.
I don't know. I feel like I just lost 10 seconds of my life.
You
I can't
did.
get back.
You've actually lost like an hour and a half of your life.
it's gone.
But I'm glad to have taken it from you. This is quite an honor.
But no, it's not. They've
You take your Yankee podcast V card.
they have created.
we're not recording.
They have.
Oh, could you imagine that?
They have created something that you can't. I mean, there's 2 or 3 places on the planet like it, but they've worked their butt off to get it. But it's just like Deseret. Like for me to explain to you, and I'll have an audio clip on my phone. I'll play for you to put it semi in perspective. It's unbelievable. Like you can't explain it unless you're standing on the side of that mountain. But it's to create great content. That's what you got to have, and that's what they do. And they pay the money. They put in the work.
They do put in the work.
But
man.
that's why when I go home, why am I going to go sit and pray to God I see a doe? No. I'm going to sleep my happy butt in. And I'm going to wait until I go on my next trip where I know I'm going to see something. Like, I'm so ruined. That's why I go to my local hunting store and people ask me questions. I'm like, listen, dude, I just want to grab them by the shoulders and shake them. I was like, listen, go to a map. Throw a dart. Wherever it lands, the hunting's better there. Go there. And they don't believe me. I swear to God, just go somewhere else.
Just leave. Just like that Billy Madison scene where he's shaking the fat kid. I don't want to grow up.
It is. I'm like,
don't say that.
Pick any other outside
That's
of
a good impression.
outside of Florida, and maybe
Florida.
Yeah, Florida. I'm saying like I'm taking Florida out of that equation because Florida sucks for deer. You know, but if you're talking about if you want to go hunt and you enjoy whitetail hunting, just go to any state in the Midwest and go to public land. It's going to be better. Just literally throw it in the first tree you see. Sit in the parking
Except
lot.
Wisconsin.
It's going to be
it
better.
really sucks in Wisconsin. Don't go there.
But it's just I get so frustrated with guys that they watch these shows. They do these, they see all these things, but they're scared to death to try it on their own. They want to do their first elk hunt, but they're scared out of their mind. I'm like, dude, you just got to go. Well, I want to shoot something. Well, if you're planning on doing your first over-the-counter DIY elk hunt in Colorado and you expect to shoot something, then you don't need to go because you're going to be sadly
Did you hear about
disappointed.
Cliff's like elk in Colorado stories?
No.
He's been going since 1994.
Wow.
With like 3 guys or a few guys. And the first time they went out to Colorado elk hunting in 94, they went to the local store, and the lady didn't know if they sold archery elk tags. They said, hey, can you turn on the cooler for us so when we bring one back today, like, we can keep it cold? The lady's like, you're not going to shoot an elk with a bow. Like, they didn't think
in the 90s, it was probably like...
Yeah. It's a super cool story that you should probably hear in person. I'm going to make a terrible rendition. But they shot one in like 3 hours.
No shit.
They went back to the landowner, like, hey, can you help us get this elk out? Because from here, they didn't know, like, packing an elk out wasn't a thing. And the landowner was like, oh, you wounded one? Where is it? Like, freaked out. And they're like, well, we already gutted it. And his buddy rolls up his sleeves, like, blood covered. Like, he just gutted it out. And they're like, holy cow, you actually did this. And they've been doing that since 1994.
That's cool shit.
27 years.
Guy that walked out with fires. Like, how you got fire? How did you make fire? You know?
The older gentleman I grew up.
That would be a neat story to tell,
Yeah,
too.
I should get him on here to tell that story on the Pertnear Outdoors podcast.
You're welcome.
I hunted this guy's property. He was a 91-year-old hanger pilot. Like he flew the hang gliders over enemy lines.
In the closet?
In
like those coat hangers?
Telling a story that deserves reverence here. Okay.
Yeah. Put your mustache away for a minute, okay?
For a second.
Respect.
Tuck that flap away. You listen to me.
Boy.
So
where are you from?
This guy's name's Al Schnabel, and I grew up like kind of. He had a Cessna runway. The geese would be all over it. So we,
shoot him with
asked
your
him
pellet gun
very nicely if we could start hunting geese on his property. And he's like, shoot, yeah, heck yeah. And every day we'd shoot a bunch of geese, and he'd tell the same stories about World War II, and that he was, a hang glider pilot, and he'd detach from the B-24s and fly over enemy lines, crash the hang glider after taking reconnaissance pictures, and get out, like cross back, like go back. So this guy we hunted there just to listen to his stories, and he was telling us in 1937 that he told his mom he saw a deer in New York State, and she beat the shit out of him for a lion. How crazy is that? I mean, like, think about, like, you saw 30 deer on the way home tonight. You know, they're just to think, like, how much things have changed.
Oh, man, the American, the white-tailed deer, that's a conservation story in and of itself. Wild turkey.
Canadian goose.
Well, you talk with my dad. My dad growing up, they didn't have turkeys here. There was no turkeys.
We didn't have them growing up in Georgia.
No?
North Georgia, no.
Until the 70s, right? Like 60s or 70s, right?
We didn't have turkeys show up in North Georgia around our house until I was in high school.
No kidding. And now it's Mecca down there, right?
No.
Oh, it's not?
No. There's
like 4.
Josh walked out of the front porch here the one day and goes, just watch this. Like, just fired.
It's a good spot here because you're down in the valley.
When we got to northern Missouri,
there was
a turkey stand in the middle of the road. My first road trip with Caleb. I thought he was going to lose his mind.
I just wanted to shoot
coming
him
out
in
of
the
Georgia
face so bad. I just wanted to stomp his guts out. I did.
You get pretty fired up about turkey hunting.
Yes, I love them.
That's your thing.
It's not my thing. Elk's my favorite.
Elk's your favorite.
I almost die every year elk hunting, but turkeys is a really close second. There's so much fun.
I mean, it's got to be a grind. You're right along with the hunters. Like, so you're physically filming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrying all that shit too, right? Like, that stuff's not light.
Yeah, nobody else is carrying it. I'd love to find somebody else to carry it for me. That'd be great.
It's taking us
a job. Somebody else carry the stuff.
It's taken us 2 hours to get here.
Yeah.
But it's the journey, not the whatever they say.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the destination, not the journey.
Have you done any like backpack style hunts where you are in for several days and you don't have the ability? I've always wondered that with shooting a show, like with batteries and everything else. Like,
no, just because logistically in the way we have to shoot the shows, there's just not really a good way of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I've stayed in some really remote camps where, like, you only have like 2 hours of generator, and at night you go to bed to charge batteries. Like, that's all you get.
Yep.
Done that several times. But, like, living out of your backpack, like, there's just no way to carry enough batteries to be able to do the type of show that we could do.
Right.
I've always wanted to do a really cool backcountry hunt. I mean, we've done a lot of backcountry hunts, but, like, we have some sort of base of operations to be able to work just because we have to. But yeah, I mean, I've done moose in the Yukon, done lots of elk, done pretty much everything in about the lower 48, except for like mountain goats and crap like that. But just I have, as my grandmother says, I have my druthers of what I'd like to film, and like I'll do it. I don't like doing it, but I don't like doing waterfowl really. I'm not a huge fan. If I have to pick, it's elk and turkeys. If I only have to choose that, and then it's anything else that requires me not to have to sit still. I just don't like. I've sat in enough deer stands and been sat still long enough to where I'll still do it and I still enjoy whitetail hunting. But for me to grind 30, 45 days, 50 days in a deer stand, like the way that Lee's done it for 20 years, I can't do it. I just don't have the makeup for that. But like one of my really, really good friends and long time clients, Chuck Belmore, and Jason's met him. One of my favorite humans. He's just a Georgia redneck. He's a plumber. He's the funniest human I've ever met. And I've kind of really started to, really figure out why me and him are such good friends, because we see eye to eye on things a lot more now. It's like, he's one of those guys, like, he told him, like, hey, there's a 170-inch whitetail coming to this food plot. Perfect wind tomorrow right here, and I can put you in there, and you'll get a shot. Or there's a chicken house that they're cleaning out the litter. You can probably kill 100 rats. He'd be like, screw that deer. Let's go shoot them rats. Like, I'm with him. Like, that's because that's what's fun.
It's fun.
And it's it's entertaining. It's like, no, do viewers want to see that? No, they want to see a big whitetail get shot. It's
He's the Larry Cable guy of hunting television.
He is, and but there needs to be more of that to where it doesn't. I mean, the size is cool and all, but it's unattainable for most guys, and or girls or whoever, and to be relatable and to show that we're out here having a good time. We're doing and Chuck hunts everything. If it's legal, he hunts it. Crows, ducks, deer. He doesn't like doing deer hunting. I make him do some deer hunts every year because they rate the best. But, he doesn't discriminate. He wants to hunt everything. But yeah, to answer your question, we've done a lot. Like last year, the year before, we did 22 states and 3 countries. And
it was last year.
Was it? And we're burning at both ends for 7-ish months out of the year.
Yeah.
I did 31 straight days of elk hunting year before last, and it about killed me.
Well, it's got to be tough on you as a father too. I mean, you're away from your
kids.
And
that's what I was getting at is, so we hunted, elk hunted 31 straight days in 3 different states. I got in my truck outside Salt Lake City, Utah, and I had 3 days before I have to pack my bags and go to BC for another 2 trips back to back, another 19 days. So instead of taking 2 days to drive home from Salt Lake City, because it's a solid 24-hour drive, I Ironmanned it and spent the night, it literally slept in my front seat of my truck for 2 hours in Kansas City and got all the way home in 26 hours straight.
By yourself?
By myself.
That's rough.
Saw my kids when I was a zombie for about a day and a half, washed my clothes, packed my stuff, and flew to BC. And if it wouldn't have been for those 3 days, which really 1.5 of it was driving, I wouldn't have got to see my kids for like 50 days. And it's really hard, and this is what happens every year, and this is why I'm trying to hire more guys that want to be on the road. It's like I've got to, at some point, I can't do that anymore, nor do I want to. 31 days of elk hunting, especially me, I'm not.
So with the same hunter, or is it different?
I was with Dudley for 20 of those days, and then I was on my own for 9 of those days, and then with travel in between.
So you did your own hunt?
Yeah, I did my own hunt in Mexico, and it was rough. I killed my bull at the last light. We cleaned it, got it all to the thing, ready. Literally the next morning in New Mexico, I packed up my stuff. I drove to Utah and hunted that evening with Dudley.
That's insane.
And just there was no time. You don't have time. You have.
So it's just like your clock is just going.
Elk season, archery elk season is only really a month long, and you got to get it in. It's only a month long. They're only bugling for a certain amount of time.
Right.
And then we did Utah, Colorado. I did 4 states: Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Montana, in that 31 days. And we ended up killing. I killed a bull. We killed 4 bulls in 4 states. And one of them was mine, and very blessed to do that. But then you Ironman at home just to go back to BC, and we did moose, black bear, mule deer. I don't remember. I don't know. I don't even remember at this point. They all run together. But it's
you can find out on the Redneck Tech
Podcast. I don't care how much you love hunting, how much you like elk hunting, and to think that yeah, man, that sounds awesome. But you roll right from elk right into whitetails, right from whitetails right into get a month break, right into spring. You get a 2-month break, and you're right into it again.
Yeah.
And now we do bow fishing, we do content, we do everything. We don't have a downtime like we used to. We don't have 3 or 4 months where we can kick our heels back. We just don't have it. And I get super anxious and nervous when I feel like we don't have anything going on. I'm like, what am I missing? Who's beating me now? Somebody, and that's good and bad.
Yeah.
You need a break. I took a week and took my kids to Pigeon Forge. I was on my phone every day emailing and looking at stuff, but everybody needs a break. It's important. But we don't have that. opportunity in the season because the season's only so long. You know, you can't say, hey, Colorado, can y'all just pause this elk season for like a week and give me a break? Like, it doesn't work that way.
No.
And from when you tell people that, and you tell them, you know, I did 150 days in the field this year, they look at you cross-eyed like, what? You did what? And they're like, well, you only worked 150 days. I was like, no, the other 200 days we're editing and we're planning and we're getting gear. We're doing it. Like, we don't get a whole lot of days off. You know, that's why, you know, another thing that we do at the office is like, you don't get 2 weeks vacation. If you need a day, you take a day. If you need a week, you take a week. If your work's done, I don't care what time you get there. I don't care what time you go home. As long as your stuff's getting done, I could care less. If you get your stuff done and you're making money and everybody's happy, stay home a month. I don't care. As long as it's getting done.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's another thing that we try and be unique. You know, we don't have office hours. We don't have these standardized things. It's like, take ownership of your project. Take ownership of what you're doing. Be passionate about it. Everybody row in the right direction, and everybody will be happy. So, but yeah, I mean, elk is, if you've never done it, if you're listening to this podcast, you have to do it.
I've never done it.
You have to.
You absolutely have to.
Yep.
Do it, you know, the second, third week of September when they're bugling the best. If you don't even kill an elk, it's worth it. To hear an elk bugle in the mountains out west is a magical, magical thing. Yep. And it will last the rest of your life. You owe it to yourself to figure out a way to do it. And I'm sure you have a friend or a buddy or a cousin or an uncle that would go with you to split fuel. Don't fly, drive. Drive out there. Don't take a cooler because it's bad luck. Every time I ever take a cooler, we don't kill anything. Buy a cooler once you kill or ship it back. It's going to cost you money. Best money you've ever spent.
Good tip.
Don't take a cooler and go out there and just find the people and go the opposite direction. You don't have to go, and I'm giving away some information here. Everybody says you have to go further and deeper than everybody else. That's not true. I totally disagree with that. Almost every elk I've ever got on public land is within 300 yards of the road, and it's usually down the mountain, not up the mountain.
Yeah, but
because
that's like
everybody
a trend.
goes up, they push them down.
Yeah.
If everybody goes down, they push them up.
So the new fad is to go as deep as you can.
Yeah.
So now everybody's going deep, and all the elk are close to the road.
I killed my over-the-counter bull in Colorado. We ran into the first 2 days. We went up and tried to get deeper, and we kept running into hunters. And I got on Onyx the next day, and I found a road that went down the mountain. And we got on that road and in the dark, we bumped a whole herd of elk in the dark. I mean, we weren't 100 yards off the road. This is the road to get in this camp that probably 50 trucks had driven in that morning. We bumped the elk in the dark, and we're like, well, we know there's elk down here. That morning, we got on 4 or 5 different bulls bugling way down this canyon. You could not hear them from the road, and you definitely couldn't hear them from the top. And then what they did is they pushed all these elk down. There's a cliff face. They couldn't go anywhere. Ended up killing a satellite bull that morning.
Nice.
You know? We were 400 yards from a logging road. We had him out in an hour. You know, and everybody else was killing themselves to go up and over this huge peak and get into this valley. You know, were there elk over there? Probably. Good luck getting them out.
Yeah, I feel like that's that. I got to suffer to enjoy something.
Yeah.
Like,
no, you don't.
Yeah.
I'm a smarter, not harder kind of guy.
I was helping a guy with a very good friend of ours. We're cutting down some elm trees that fell, and shipping stuff back to my house, bringing it back, and just riding this nice guy named Marty. And he goes, you hunt all over, right? I'm like, well, I hunt whitetail here, and I've hunted, Illinois a bunch. And he's like, you ever hunt Montana? I'm like, no, I've never even been to Montana. He goes, oh, I have like 400 acres there. If you ever want to hunt there, just let me know.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, are you adopting?
Yeah.
Does he have a daughter?
He has 3 daughters. They're all married, but Marty and I are cool.
Rings don't plug holes.
So he's
Wow.
It's 1 a.m. Yeah. Yeah.
You got to fix buses tomorrow.
Yep.
That work always gets in the way of fun.
I got to try to sell some buses tomorrow.
I'm still working.
Yeah. I'm working too. I have a net loss podcast. Yeah. It's a net loss organization.
So does my boss.
Rename it Net Loss. That's pretty funny. That's
Yeah.
actually a solid name for
It
a
is,
podcast.
isn't it?
Yeah, Net
Maybe I
Loss.
should rename it.
Good to meet you, man.
Thanks for coming down, Big Jim. Appreciate you.
Super awesome.
Nice to meet you,
man.
dude. Appreciate it. Hey, if I don't see you before next spring,
Hey.
kill them all for me.
Shoot me a text message. Keep in touch.
Yep. Shoot them till they die from it. Do it. Go for it.
There's a series on
Nebraska.
YouTube called Make It Happen that tells you how to hunt turkeys in Nebraska if you want to knock on some doors.
Oh, I told that's the easiest one in the book. Find a turkey, knock on the doors. And I've never found somebody to tell me no.
Is that right?
Really?
Never been told no.
But yeah, Make It Happen series on YouTube and Instagram.
That's
Is
how
that yours?
Goose hunting used
Is that
to be here.
yours?
You can hunt.
Wildlife?
Do what?
You can hunt goose.
Oh, that's
anywhere.
produced by
20
Copeland
years
Creative.
ago here.
Oh, is it? Make it happen.
See
ya,
ya.
Bob.
See you, Big Jim.
Watch out for deer.
Straight home, yeah.
Hate to see you go. Love to watch you leave.
Is that in your list of
No, he just
No.
listened to Trace Atkins.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's yeah.
He's all about that hunk of town.
Oh,
Down,
no,
down.
no.
It's a turd cutter, son.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? We've covered it all.
Mm-hmm. I mean, only thing we haven't figured out is how to get Biden out of office.
That's going to take another couple of years.
Oh, man.
It's,
It might take
you
another
know
couple
what?
minutes.
Can I say something? Is that I'm pretty proud of myself because I have not had a single conversation since 5:45 when I got there. There's not been a single negative political conversation, and that's about all that's been consuming in my life for the last 4 days. So it's nice. It's nice to
Isn't
get
that
together with a
amazing
bunch of people
when
and
you get together with people that actually just love hunting and fishing,
yeah,
that's just all they care about.
that's all you talk about.
do you guys
Or
have
you
a
talk about
different
nothing
perspective on New York at all now?
Did you get to see it in the day? So when did you guys even get here?
They got here at 11:41.
Look at him. He's never been here before. I've been here before.
You have here,
Yeah.
like right here
Upstate New York.
in this
yeah.
region.
Yeah, have.
I don't know.
So what'd you guys do? Did you fly? You flew into Rochester?
Rochester. I grabbed in Rochester. We went to
Is it Rochester or Rochester?
Rochester.
What did I say? Rochester.
I don't. Yeah, you said like I would say it.
Rochester.
He says Rochester.
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 There's also
Rochester.
Rochester, Minnesota.
His
Goose
dentures
capital
are
of the
falling
world.
out.
Yeah, well, it's a southern thing to not enunciate words, so that's why I was
Rochester?
trying to see
Well, I
if he
have
was
that-
saying it correctly.
I have that my army slang comes out pretty hard when I'm around you. So that where everybody just talked the same.
Yeah.
Of
That one time you got Southern.
Sergeant. That was how it all turned in. But they flew into Rochester today, 11:41. We went to Elite Archery, grabbed a little bite to eat, and then drove south on 390. So I think they got to see a
See a little
bunch of
bit, yeah.
But I think coming like 390 through Avon, coming over and starting to see some of the big skyscapes out that way.
Get out.
It's
What'd you get
pretty
off at 5 and 20?
Yep, 5 and 20 started heading.
Just shot this way.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean this area is
This area in the fall,
pretty incredible.
It's tough to beat.
Even now, though, I mean, if you get a chance to drive down around the lakes and
well, the weather beats the hell out of the South. I can tell you that.
yeah,
You got the one nice day.
So does a
'cause it was
stick.
90 some odd degrees the last couple of days.
yeah. Well,
It's hot.
what was it today here?
74.
But was it 70 before the weather came through, or because we got hit with that storm?
It's chilly outside right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go outside.
It's chilly
Yeah.
outside.
We should have done this outside.
Well, that's what I told Jason. I
had a-
wanted to do a nice bonfire out
We had a
back
hot
with
tub, bonfire. We're really
Fire. I
Caleb,
want to feel like what it feels like to be cold.
Caleb is a prima donna, and he wants
an ice cube.
Oh, come
fine.
on.
He wants to sit around an ice
very
cube.
comfortable.
Come on.
So what time do you guys fly out tomorrow?
I leave
You leave at
Rochester
noon,
at
he leaves
noon.
1.
Okay, so you guys have a chance to kind of get around and
Yeah,
see a little
I
bit
think
of
we're
stuff.
Are you staying here tonight?
I mean, essentially, it's
1 a.m. now.
yeah. I mean, I'm probably staying here.
What time are you going to be at work tomorrow?
I don't know.
Sweet.
I gotta. I mean, I'm
We were
an
gonna
early
cover it,
riser,
but-
so
I think we're going to go to my house and do breakfast just so I can show them a little bit more.
yeah,
And then
you should because
not
even
totally-
just south from here, just getting down by around your house
Well,
and
it'd
seeing
be-
Canandaigua Lake
be
and
cool to
Honey
show
Earth
'em,
Lake,
like the overlook and stuff as they're
Yeah.
coming north.
drive up there to Ontario County Park, and
Yep.
that's quite the view to go up there.
Boy, that's a fun park, man.
look
That
at
Ontario County Park is outstanding.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Beautiful place.
I've run a couple half marathons there.
Oh,
That's pretty wicked.
I just drive through
Shameless
it.
plug.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to build my cred for my Pertnear Outdoors podcast.
Pertnear Outdoors.
All right, let's put a wrapper on her. So I appreciate your guys' time. It's cool as hell to meet you, and appreciate you, Jason, for putting all this together. And hopefully, I'll have like 400 listeners after, put an episode like this out.
That's it's always my agenda. My
But
agenda
when you
is
put
just
17 hours of
together.
content out, that helps.
Yeah, for sure. It's volume, not whatever. It's,
Quantity over quality for
but
sure with us.
honestly, it's for someone, I don't do this. I don't make money from this. It's a passion. It's something I enjoy doing. It's putting me in a room, in a cabin of somebody who I didn't even know until 2 weeks ago. It's putting me here in these cool places to meet cool people.
Okay.
And it helps me be a better person. I hope that that's the sort of stuff that people take from these podcasts is, get a laugh, learn something, but just try to be a better person and, find your passion and find what it is. So, appreciate you guys making the journey up here and sharing this podcast with us. So thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Get in where you fit in.
That's good.
That's right.
That's a good spot.
You're welcome.
Fit it in.